It's still the morning show here on Arise News. And now let's take a look at news stories making headlines around the globe. First off, Governor Siminalayi Fubara of Rivers State has defected to the All Progressives Congress, APC, from the People's Democratic Party, PDP. He announced this at a stakeholders meeting at the Government House in Port Harcourt on Tuesday. Fubara said he decided to leave the PDP to support President Bola Tinubu of the APC, saying that he would have become a former governor without Tinubu's support. His defection came 4 days after the Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly, Martins Amewule, and 16 others who left the PDP for the APC.
Body be fooled in this state. We have the people, we have the supporters, and we have the number. Our only thank you to Mr. President is to support him. And we cannot support Mr. President in isolation. And we can't support Mr. President if we don't fully identify with him, not backyard support. So we have taken that decision today since we've gotten the pass. Everyone here who have followed me, who have suffered with me, our decision today, this evening, we are moving to APC.
But in a swift reaction, the People's Democratic Party has described the defection of Governor Fubara of Rivers State as pitiful, saying it exemplifies the old legal maxim that to one who is willing, no harm can be done. In a statement by its National Publicity Secretary, Inni Ememobong, the PDP said Fubara should have nothing less than praise for the party, civil society organizations, and all Nigerians who freely stood up in his defense until he capitulated. The PDP said democracy is terribly threatened by acts of this kind, and all well-meaning people should unify in condemning this progressive decline of democratic norms. The party called on Nigerians and the global community to oppose the ignoble trip toward electoral authoritarianism. Moving on from Rivers to Osun, where the state governor, Ademola Adeleke, has officially joined the Accord Party days after leaving the People's Democratic Party. The governor made the announcement on Tuesday at the Government House in the presence of national and state leaders of the Accord Party. Adeleke also revealed his intention to seek re-election for a second term on the platform of the Accord Party, stating that he joined the party more than a month ago because its mission of welfarism aligns with his administration's focus on citizens and workers' welfare.
Today, we unveil the new platform for the good people of Osun State, from Osun West to Osun East to Osun Central. This is our party, our new platform for victory come August next year. Osun voted for good governance in 2022, and they will support continuity in 2026. The mass of our people are for continuity, and Accord is our party for victory next year.
In other news, the Nigerian Senate has granted express approval to President Bola Tinubu's deployment of military troops to the Republic of Benin on a peace mission following the attempted coup in the neighboring West African country. Senate approval follows a presidential request contained in a letter read at plenary in line with constitutional provisions and ECOWAS security protocol. Arise correspondent Omo Bazwaye tells us more.
The wave of military coups in Africa struck once again, and this time in Nigeria's tiny West African neighbor, Benin Republic, in the early hours of Sunday. Several soldiers of the Benin Armed Forces, led by Lieutenant Colonel Pascal Tigri, took to streets shooting sporadically and eventually announcing the overthrow of Beninese President Patrice Talon on national television, after an attack on Talon's residence in Cotonou. Within hours, the coup was quickly thwarted by loyalist forces with support from the Nigerian military, prompting an ECOWAS standby force to deploy even more security in line with a request by the government of Benin and in exercise of its constitutional powers. Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu writes to the Senate requesting approval to deploy military troops on peace mission to the neighboring country. Tinubu says his decision follows due consultation with the National Defense Council.
I seek further to consultation with the National Defense Council, the consent of the Senate for the deployment of Nigerian troops to the Republic of Benin.
President Tinubu also adds that the request is urgently required so as to immediately deploy Nigerian military personnel as requested by Benin's President Patrice Talon. As a major force in the ECOWAS sub-region, Tinubu notes that the situation in Nigeria's next-door neighbor requires swift external intervention in the spirit of mutual cooperation between both nations and in line with ECOWAS security protocols.
The government of the Republic of Benin is currently faced with an attempted unconstitutional seizure of power and disruption and destabilization of democratic institutions.
The Nigerian Senate then swiftly committed the president's request to the Committee of the Whole and wasted no time in granting approval for military intervention in Benin, despite calls from Senator Siraki Dixon for a robust debate on the matter and the need for good governance by elected leaders across Africa.
I have thought that with the communication of Mr. President, which has been read this morning, that we will discuss the validity and the appropriateness and add value to it, because the whole essence is for that communication to be debated, for it to enjoy legitimacy.
Sorry, you are wrong. All the senators here that gave consent are aware of the content of that letter. They would not have given consent if they were not in agreement with the president's request.
Without the issue being debated, a voice note eventually led to a unanimous resolution being raised, even as senators took turns to commend President Bola Tinubu for his quick and decisive action to restore democracy in Benin Republic. Senate leader Okpeyemi Bamidele clarifies the action of the president.
Today, what we have done was to respond in compliance with the provision of section 5 sub 5, because the president requested for our consent on what was done in Benin Republic.
The Senate subsequently resolved that a formal letter of approval be dispatched immediately to the president to sustain the military action in Benin Republic. Omo Bazwai, Arise News.
The president of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, Omar Toure, says the region is in a state of emergency, warning that nearly every country in the region now faces risks ranging from military intervention to terrorist expansion and rising geopolitical pressure. Toure was speaking at the 55th session of the ECOWAS Mediation and Security Council in Abuja.
Country-by-country analysis of our member states show different risk levels across our community, from high to medium, with an average of high risk for our community, thereby demanding immediate and concerted action.
All right, so a number of stories to get into this morning, Rufai, Dr. Abati. Of course, starting off with the story around the government, similar for Barayes, I was trying to think around democracy, going from defections in River State, Osun State, and then moving on to Benin Republic. We had asked yesterday, or still question around the president writing to the Senate to formally seek approval for sending troops to Benin Republic. And then, of course, we have other stories yesterday in the news. Rufai, your take on these stories this morning?
Let me quickly start with the Senate case. I'm not happy with what I saw yesterday. It just confirmed that the Senate is a rubber stamp. And Dr. Abati, for those that were challenging you, I'm sure their disgrace is obvious now on national TV. The presidency had to transmit the letter to the Senate. For those that were speaking all sorts of English, so you win the point of this, and I'm sure they are terribly disgraced, all the, what you call them, ambulance lawyers, and all sorts of social commentators. I'm not happy with what I see in the Senate. It's obvious the Senate is a rubber stamp. Irrespective of the fact that I support that decision by President Tinubu to be able to safeguard Benin because of the proximity to Nigeria. But it was also supposed to be up for a robust debate. There must be dissenting voice. And that's why you see, it's now obvious. The reason why we didn't invade Niger, because there are cultural ties with people in the north. Because you see, once we've started this invasion of Benin, when you have another skirmish, why don't you met out the same treatment? But because people protested in the north, they said it's a no-go area. This same Senate rejected it. That time, they opened it up for a debate. But this one, the dissenting voices, they said no to it. See the way Siraki Dixon was shot down. It's a matter of national importance. We are sending our troops abroad. We are doing something that affects our sovereignty as a nation. That we also have repercussions of our sovereignty. And they just brushed this aside. So it speaks volumes about the trend we are increasingly seeing in this country. And the Senate has become rubber stamp. And please, this idea of a voice vote is inimical to democracy. It's not going to cost us anything. These guys earn billions. They bring billions to the Senate. Their budget's worth over $1 billion. They should buy an electronic voting system so that we know who voted in favor of what. How can we have an entire Senate of a country as big as Nigeria and we don't even have the voting record of senators? Because this Senate, the way it is, does not give voices to dissenting voices. So it's not just a sweeping thing. And you know, when some people want it, they get it. When some people don't want it, they don't get it. And for the ECOWAS person speaking English, as far as I'm concerned, what does the Hausa people call it? Is it Turuwanji or something? You know, when you are speaking very fine English. Turinchi. Speaking English. They're telling people that West African continent, West Africa is inundated with lots of coups. We need to declare it. Which yes state of emergency? Where you have Yahoo boys as leaders in African country. What did he tell? What did he say to Talon when Talon started being high-handed in Benin? What has he said to Alisa Ouattara? What has he said to leaders that rig election? What has he said to Furo Iyadema that has followed in his father's footsteps, Nasingbe, to set up something called a Council of Ministers, which is the president. And he now puts a puppet president there. And 80-something-year-old man for that matter. If you check who is the president of Togo now, you see a certain Tovi, 80-something-year-old man. But the main person that has the power is Furo Iyadema. So when all of these leaders are doing all of these things, they don't know that it's going to bring about a blowback. And this Toure is speaking Turinji, telling us English, lecturing us on the tenets of democracy. Go and lecture the Yahoo boys that are leaders on the African continent. The tenets of democracy, they should do things right. If they do things right, we will not have the enabling environment for all these coups. I don't support coups. But the leaders too must act right. Thirdly, you said Fubara said nobody supported
No,
him.
he said he just said thank you to the
No,
president. Like
he said-
he wouldn't have been.
He said
would
no,
have been a
he said
former
no,
governor.
I think he also said nobody in
Okay, I'm
PDP
not sure about
supported
that.
him.
About him saying that.
Does
making that
Fubara
statement.
have amnesia? Did he forget that PDP governors went to court to challenge the impeachment, the state of emergency? Did he forget? Did he forget that the judiciary held on to that case? They didn't listen to it. It was after the state of emergency elapsed that the judiciary brought that case out. Did he forget? So what is it that the PDP didn't help? Didn't they go to court? Did he forget? Fubara is just like any other Nigerian politician. You see, Fubara reminds me of that your sister. in Lagos State.
I know my sisters.
No, your sister, the speaker at the point in Lagos State.
They once had the surname Thompson. I'm not sure about.
No, the one you were supporting now that Obasa must not come back. Obasa must not come back. That you were saying she should be there, first female speaker. Fuba just reminded me of her that after they removed her, what did she say? Oh, Reni. She was not thanking the people that removed her. You see, there is no integrity in political sphere in Nigeria. But what do you expect? Wasn't EFC chasing Fubara before he became governor? So what do you expect? I'm asking you. He went to thank his oppressor now. Abi?
He said it helped him, that he would have been ex-governor, but for the help of
It's better is ex-governor with dignity than to go back and thank the same oppressor. Fubara has amnesia, selective amnesia. He forgets the first deal that President Tinubu brought forward to the table, Primo tell him to cede power. It was people like us that were speaking on TV saying, no agree. Before he had sense then. Is it not the same deal President Tinubu implemented by giving him a state of emergency, stripping him of his powers, allowing that same house to run against him? I mean, we thought he had spine before now. But they used what they were going to use. The judiciary ruled against him. That's why he was kowtowed. Didn't the same Fubara organize another political party? What's the name of that political party? Do local government elections that the court cancelled? So and I kept on saying it that we're not speaking for Fubara, we're speaking for the seats of the governor. Because President Tinubu that declared that state of emergency, that aberration, nobody could have done that to him in Lagos. Just like his wife that went to tell Governor Jackson Adeleke to keep quiet off the mic, disrespected the governor in his town. Nobody could have done that to Tinubu as governor of Lagos. He will never accept such a thing. And that's why the early 2000s, everybody was shouting Tinubu, Tinubu, because he stood tall as a great opposition against Olusegun Obasanjo. And that's what people wanted. But today, he's stifling any of such voices. So Fubara has gone to meet people that oppressed him. Maybe we shout, we spoke, we shouted. State of emergency. He got out of it. After they stripped him for 6 months, they said they used to recalibrate things. So he has gone to join the APC now. Will that guarantee him a second term? Only time will tell. Maybe the lawmakers to have joined the APC, the same people that were against him are the ones now that are now paddy with him after they have destroyed him to a stage. The last point, as regards Mr. Jackson, it just shows the disintegration of the PDP. And I think what a lot of governors are thinking, despite the fact that PDP says he's put his hands in order, is that they are not sure and they are not certain of what the court will rule. Because this is their fight between two factions. We still reach a Supreme Court, and this convention they did. Is because people are not certain. So Jackson wants to quickly go to accord. But will he be able to use accord to do a second time? Or will he dance Michael Jackson with accord?
That's Governor Ademola Adeleke.
Yes. Okay. Will he dance Michael Jackson? Because, he named Jackson because he likes to dance Michael Jackson. Okay. Put Michael Jackson in his name. And I think maybe he lives somewhere called Jackson, Florida. I don't know. Maybe my brain is just touching. So, truth has to be said. It's only time that will tell. Okay. But a lot of people have also said, maybe because they didn't see a space in the APC. But let's see how the political dynamics play out. At least for the very first time, we saw Accord gaining somebody.
All right.
Okay, first, let it be on record that Nigeria did not invade the Republic of Benin. This narrative that Nigeria invaded the Republic of Benin is not true. That's number one. What happened was that the authorities in Republic of Benin called for help from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. First, to send the Air Force to occupy their airspace to make it difficult for the coup plotters to operate. Second, to send ground troops working in concert with the Beninese military command to secure constitutional institutions. It was a weekend, Sunday morning. I imagine that the coup plotters will have known the Nigerian situation. They will have imagined that, look, President Tinubu cannot summon the National Assembly immediately on Sunday to get the approval. However, our constitution provides a leeway. It says that if the president of Nigeria has to go, some people say guns are blazing, or send troops abroad, it will need the concurrence of the National Assembly. I've said this and again, that it is to prevent the Nigerian presidency becoming a dictatorship. It is also to ensure accountability. But some illiterates take one phrase inside the Constitution and they go to town. Lawyers are not trained like that. Lawyers are trained to do what is called a community reading. You don't isolate one part of the Constitution. That's not what they teach in constitutional law. However, in section 5 sub 5, the Constitution says the president, if he now acts within the province of a limited combat duty, under which framework the expedition in Republic of Benin will fall, he now has 7 days within which to go to the National Assembly and seek the ratification of the National Assembly. I said on this program that I expected that by Monday morning, the Nigerian government will have gone straight to the National Assembly to say, this is what we have done. These are the reasons. These are our explanations. And for the National Assembly to either ratify or reject the action. But in this particular case, the National Assembly, the Senate, I say, okay, we ratify it. However, the limited combat duty that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu embarked upon, whatever the Senate wanted to decide, had been rendered academic because Nigeria had already gone to Republic of Benin on invitation and had helped to foil the coup. So the act had already been done. Anything after that is academic. So what the Senate did...
I think we still have troops on ground in Benin.
Well, if we still have troops on the ground, I've said it before on this program. Even if we have troops on the ground, now the Senate of the Federal Republic has given the approval that Nigeria has an obligation, depending on the reasons that have been given by the president, to stay there and help Republic of Benin. In the case of Niger in 2023, this same Senate rejected the request to be part of the West African force. But significantly, the law has been followed. The presidency has protected itself by getting that ratification. The issues about whether it's a rubber stamp assembly is a different issue altogether that we continue to address on this table. Number 2, Sim Fubara and Governor of Osun State. I'll deal with the 2 issues. Governor Sim Fubara was suspended March 18 to September 18. Now, a few days ago, about 72 hours ago or more, the members of the Rivers State House of Assembly defected from the PDP to APC, meaning that he had become a loner as governor. Now, on Monday, he went to see President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Yesterday, he said he too is joining the APC. It makes sense. It's all about political survival. He was saying that, we have to move from where we are to where it will be better for Rivers State. No, where it will be better for him. He wants a second term. And that's the question that is still in the air. Now that he has joined the APC, will he get the second term? 2, this is a clear affirmation of the fact that Nyesom Wike, Minister of the FCT, who has refused to leave Rivers as the godfather, has won. He's the winner of the game. He's the owner of the game in Rivers State. 3rd question, who is now going to be the leader of this APC party in Rivers State? Will it be Fubara? Will it be Minister Wike? But if you look at it, let's go quickly to Osun State. In Osun State, for Governor Ademola Adeleke, it's also a question of survival. There's no way he could go to the APC. Even the APC in Osun State is troubled. 6 of their persons who are interested in the December 16 APC primaries, they've been suspended. Omishore is saying it is a joke The other people are saying nobody can suspend them. So will he go to a troubled party, and a party that has even withheld local government allocations to his government since February 2025? Now, the PDP, which is the party on which platform he became a senator, he became a governor, that party is also divided. Okay? Yeah. So divided to the extent that you don't even know which faction of the party will be recognized by INEC. So he refused to take part in the primaries of the PDP. The primaries took place. Okay, if you are taking part and then INEC comes tomorrow and says on the basis of fresh evidence and these facts, then PDP has no candidate, then he will be in a trouble space. So he has now gone to Accord Party, and now he's also doing thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. That's the slogan of Accord Party. So he has gone to Accord Party to protect himself so that he will be, at least be on the ballot. What will happen hereafter? Will he return to the PDP? Well, it is for him to decide. But whether he returns to the PDP or not, all that is in the future. But he wants to be part of that competition. The major challenge that he now faces is to build up the Accord Party, because what most of the people in Osun State know is the umbrella. So now he has to do a lot in terms of saying thumbs up, thumbs up. Well, he's also lucky in one regard. Accord Party is the first on the ballot list. But quickly, let's extend the analysis. Now, what are we facing? Some people have said we're facing the prospect of a one-party state. There are 17 states in the South. Out of these 17 states in the South, only 3 are still in the opposition. Oyo State, Makinde's PDP in Oyo State. Abia, where Alex Oti remains very firm in Labour Party. Yes. There's still one more state. There's one more state. There are 3 of them. Osun now, that is in Accord Party. Now, if you go to the north, there are 19 states. Out of the 19 states in the north, Bauchi is PDP. The only other state that is in PDP is Taraba. Taraba is governor. No, the governor, Kefas. He has announced that he's going to the APC, but he has not declared officially. Then you have Zamfara. Zamfara, yeah. So you have Zamfara where you still have the PDP in place. So if you look at it, out of 36 states, how many do you have? Maybe probably about 5. I think Mufang too has gone to the APC. No, he hasn't Plateau. He postponed it based on all the... Okay, so let me just land with the analysis. What it means, therefore, is that between now and 2027, you may still have some other states that will go. So that's why people say, you know, we have the prospect of a one-party state. Yeah. However, the game is not over until it is over. Is it possible that in the lead up to the 2027 election, the other opposition parties, seeing that they have lost out, that the election has been won and lost, in fact, this morning, we can call the election and say that the APC is going to win the 2027 election. What if the opposition parties now decide that we are not going to be part of the 2027 election? Then you have a situation similar to what you have in Côte d'Ivoire and what you have in other African countries. And that will now, after the election, raise questions of legitimacy. I go quickly to Omar Toure, Dr. Omar Toure, the chairperson of the ECOWAS Commission, saying that there is an emergency in West Africa. Yes, there is. Because 5 out of the original ECOWAS member states have left, or they are under military rule, right? Yeah. Burkina Faso, Guinea-Bissau, Mali, Chad, and you know, one other country, you know, and then within the Burkina Faso, and then within the axis, then you see that Gabon, you know, Madagascar further south, you know, Chad, you know, all these countries, they've also gone. So if you look at the environment, the neighborhood, you look at the ECOWAS itself, the ideals of the founding fathers that this will be a body for democracy has been violated. Mm-hmm. But Omar Toure made very important point. He said that all of these crises are linked to elections. And he says it is also because of political practices in ECOWAS. In other words, leadership. Yeah. You have seen in Cameroon, you have seen in Cote d'Ivoire, you have seen in Togo, you have seen in even the Republic of Benin, the so-called African leaders violating the constitution, removing constitutional term limits, either because they want to keep themselves in power perpetually, or they want to put their own nominees in the place. So we have this crisis of democratic retreat rather than the reality of democratic consolidation in West Africa. He talked also about geopolitical pressures being responsible. I'm quoting Omature now, for coups and botched coups in West Africa. And it is real. West Africa has certainly become a playground for the international players. France has lost his foothold, is trying to fight back. Russia is in Burkina Faso, is in Mali. The US is finding every way possible to get back into West Africa and to hold Nigeria as the strongest, biggest country in West Africa. So West Africa has become a playground for geopolitics, for powerful primary superior powers trying to control this environment. And our leaders do not have the capacity, either mental or institutional or infrastructural, to sift through all of this. And they don't have competent, really competent advisors. Or maybe the advisors just suck up to the geopolitical realities that they are faced with. So this is where the challenge is. And for this reason, I think Omature is right to say that we are facing an emergency in West Africa with regard to leadership and democratic consolidation.
Leadership and democratic consolidation facing a crisis on the West African region. I don't think a lot of people would argue with that, especially following trends that have happened in recent times. Let me come back first of all to Nigeria. And when we talk about democratic system of government, what we have is a federal system. What we have is a system where there are three arms of government. We have the executive, the legislature, and we have the judiciary. And each of them are supposed to work effectively and independently to check one another. Now, what happened yesterday on the floor of the Senate was not in adherence with the terms of that. I say this because what Senator Serake Dixon had called for was in order. An opportunity, even if at the end of the day, the senators will still vote to support the president's intervention in Benin Republic, was an opportunity for Nigerians to listen to a robust discussion around pertinent issues. Some civil society organizations have raised this point, and I quite agree with them. A few things that could have been debated, especially in the interest of public knowledge, would be around what the specific mandates the troops will have, what would be the terms, anticipated duration, what would be the cost to Nigeria in terms of personnel costs, how would this affect our internal security, or as we are fighting currently, to what extent would our troops be stretched? So these are some of the questions that ought to have been discussed, looked through, and in fact, some proposals around, could there be other forms of intervention, just in the way that we had during the Niger coup crisis? So the fact that we didn't have an opportunity to robustly debate that on the floor of the Senate yesterday, I believe was a great disservice to the Nigerian people. Yes, like the Senate president had read out yesterday, that every one of the senators must have seen the communique from the president. However, it would have been an opportunity for the people to actually discuss dimension, understand the issues, break it down, and actually be able to, justify their position and decision to ratify the president's actions in Benin Republic. And so they can't vote in the interest of Nigerians, in the interest of Nigeria's national security. But I do believe that we robbed ourselves an opportunity to actually have a deep end discussion around the issues, and even perhaps prefer, alternative means of dialogue, of interventions, or even additional means in that regard. And so I think that was an opportunity missed. Now, going on to the defections, and I'll put that in with what the president of ECOWAS said, Omature, alongside what is happening in Nigeria currently. He had said that democracy is under threat, which we've talked about a number of times here on this table, especially in West Africa. And perhaps that is a reason why we've seen the number of coups happen around the region. What I would say to that is that the first thing when we saw the speech by Governor Siminalayi Fubara was that he was saying that his defection was based on an appreciation to the president of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And I thought it was quite sad that a governor who is supposed to be there on the mandate of the people's vote did not acknowledge or mention the fact that he was doing it because of the people who supported him. Remember, because when he says and he gives all the accolades, or at least majority of the accolades to the president, is that those Rivers women who blocked the streets, who protested, who came out in his support in the early days of his fight with his political godfather, what happens to them at this point? Those Rivers elders who consistently came out to say that they were backing him, they were in support of him, they were defending democracy, said a number of times that they were doing it for posterity's sake and to defend the office of the governor. What happens to them? How about those who came out during the elections in 2023 against all odds to come out to exercise their franchise, to vote for him? What happened to them? If at the end of the day, the most important person when it comes to governance is one figure, who is the president, and then we have a real issue on our hands. And that's why we keep talking about the office of the citizen and the understanding of the power that ought to be rested in the hands of the people through the ballots. But unfortunately, because we have seen flawed elections, a lot of people do not even rely on, respect, or give honor to the people who are supposed to have put them in power. And I thought that was quite an unfortunate speech for him to have made, acknowledging the president and saying that his defection was based on a thank you to the president for all he had done because he would have become ex-governor despite all that had ensued in the last, shall I say, 2 years in Rivers State. Now to Osun State, the difference with that switch, and I use that as an example, was that the governor of Osun State actually cited ideologies of the Accord Party, saying that it aligned with his own visions on welfareism. And I thought that was a better speech to have made. At least we understand, especially when we talk about why individuals choose a particular party to run on, it's based on ideology. I mean, it could be, we can talk about the politics of it, but at least positioning and defending the fact that it was based on his own. And we can see what, in his tenure as governor in Osun State in the last 2 years, he has focused a lot on welfareism, welfare system of the citizens and all. And so I thought that was a better speech, and that we must begin to make a demand on elected political figures to actually respect the mandate on which they came in, especially through the ballot, and we empower the office of the citizen and ensure that citizens actually get the dividends of democracy. If not, like what President Omar Touray said, we'll continue to see actions because there's a general discontent. Democracy, and the people are not enjoying the dividends of democracy, and that is why they would perhaps even call for an alternative, which is not in the best interest, as we talked about a number of times. Military coups are not the answers on the African continent. A number of things to get through, but I believe that when we do get into World Brief, Newspaper Review, our guests for today were able to break it down even further and discuss some of the pertinent issues that were raised earlier today during the news. It's time now for a short break on the morning show. When we return, we'll have Adefemi Akinsanya join us for World Brief and to review top stories in today's newspapers. Stay with us.
Solar energy has improved the lives of Nigerians in the sense that we can have a cleaner environment and thereby preserving the earth for future generations. Our mission is to ensure we develop and deliver locally acceptable, contemporary, and innovative solutions in partnership with global organizations to ensure that we become the first and the trusted choice for Nigerians. So the option of having a solar solution at just 30% equity already ensures that you have money back in your pocket, because then you can then pay on a monthly basis over a period of time, which if you compare with the fact that you're also paying grid, is actually more affordable over a period of time. And then you can have your access to power under your control at every point in time for up to 10 years.
Good morning. Today's weather will be sunny with a high of 31 degrees.
Alexa, music please.
Playing workout music.
Striving for mastery? You need speed. precision, and clarity of purpose. They all add up. Talent is not enough. You've got to prove that you're able to take advantage of unlimited opportunities when they come. And to do that, you need plenty of data. Scratch that. You need unlimited data. And there's no better provider of unlimited data
Access granted.
than your all-powerful Glow router.
Whether home or office, enjoy unlimited data on a Glow router. Dial *312#.
You know, I've got unlimited eyes.
Glow Unlimited.
I'm still watching.
Hey! With Tasty Tom and Derica, your unique bean can make you a millionaire. Buy any Tasty Tom tomato mix or Derica tomato mix promo pack. Reveal the unique bean inside. Dial *8011 *2 unique bean hash. Win airtime instantly and stand a chance to win big cash prizes.
Enjoy delicious meals. Text and win big.
Tasty Tom, Derica Millionaire Splash promo. Become an double this season.
Ike, you are jogging since when?
Freshio, a good source of vitamins A, B6, B12, D, and zinc that keeps you active and refreshed on the go.
You're so full of life these days, Ike. Since when?
Hey, it's Friday!
Party tonight?
After this long day of work, and you too, since when?
Freshio, wholesome goodness every day. Grab your bottle now.
We've got news. Freshio Kids Pack is back with a straw hole.
Mom, you see? You taught me well. In today's world, we forget what truly connects us.
I need my family to come together.
Devon Kings, bringing families together, one bite at a time.
No phones at my table.
This reminds me of the good old days. Thank you for keeping to the family traditions.
Thank you, Mama.
Devon Kings, taste that binds.
Mealtime is game on. Meet my Sure Bet Game Changer, made from natural ingredients to deliver game-changing chicken aroma and taste for my whole team.
Mom, why did we not use this before?
Upgrade your chicken game with game-changing chicken flavor from Maggi Chicken.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Joining us now for World Brief and the review of some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Adefemi Akinsanya. Good morning, Adefemi.
Good morning, Dr. Rubin. Good morning, Ayo, and good morning, Rufai. I hope everybody's doing well.
We're doing great.
Oko, my man. Oh, yeah.
That's me. That's me. Good morning to you all, and good morning to you viewers. Let me tell you what is happening around the world. Let's start in Australia. Australia has become the first country in the world to ban social media access for teenagers younger than 16 years of age. Now, under the new law, which came into effect today, 10 of the biggest social media platforms, including Meta, Instagram, TikTok, will face $33 million in fines if they fail to purge Australian-based users younger than 16 from their platforms. Now, this does pose a huge threat for established platforms and for new alternatives, such as our own Leke. Now, the law has been criticized by major technology companies and by free speech campaigners. They don't like it. However, it has been praised by parents and child advocates. Now, the Australian government says that unprecedented measures are needed to protect children from predatory algorithms, which fill phone screens with bullying, sexual activity, and violence. But how effective is this ban going to be, being that these are affecting very, very tech-savvy teenagers? That is the question. Moving on to Europe now. And former UK Prime Minister Tony Blair has been withdrawn from consideration for a leading role on that US-brokered Board of Peace for Gaza. This comes after strong objections from several Arab and Muslim states. Now, according to reports, regional governments had been opposed to his inclusion, that's Tony Blair's inclusion, because of his legacy supporting the 2003 Iraq invasion, which does continue to remain a sore spot. It is a deep source of resentment across the Middle East to this day. Now, President Donald Trump himself, who announced his 20-point plan to end the Israel-Hamas war back in September, had publicly named Tony Blair as a potential member of the board and described him as a very good man. However, Trump has later acknowledged the need to confirm Blair's acceptability to all parties. And sources say that's why Blair's name was withdrawn quietly from this list. Now, moving on now to the African continent, and unfortunately, there have been 200,000 people who have fled their homes in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and that is as Rwanda-backed M23 rebels march on strategic eastern towns. Now, the mass exodus of people comes just days after Donald Trump had this huge event where the Rwandan and the Congolese leaders were dedicated to proclaiming peace and prosperity. But the United Nations says that at least 74 people, who are mostly civilians, have been killed, that 83 more have been injured in hospital, and many are still dealing with wounds and escalating clashes in the area in just recent days alone. Now, M23 fighters, they've been pushing towards Uvira on the eastern side of the Democratic Republic of Congo as early as Tuesday, and that was after coming under attack by government forces. Now, this is according to the leader of the alliance of the Fleuve Congo Rebel Coalition. They've been urging fleeing soldiers not to abandon the town. So very, very dire straits happening over in the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo. But before we come over for conversations, let's take a look at our newspapers. As ever, we begin with the front page of This Day. And This Day does lead with news that the Nigerian Governors Forum has praised President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for averting Sunday's attempted coup in Benin, saying that his swift intervention prevented a major security threat to Nigeria. Now, the Senate has approved troop deployment to Benin, while ECOWAS and France supported the action. Religious leaders commended President Tinubu's decisive leadership, urging similar efforts to tackle insecurity within Nigeria. Also on the front page of This Day, we do have reports that River State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has defected to the APC. I know that you just discussed that in the beginning of the show, and he did cite support from the president for his decision. We also see that Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke has formally joined the Accord Party for his 2026 re-election bid. Now, the PDP criticized Fubara's move as a self-inflicted political injury. Let's move on to the New Telegraph this morning. The New Telegraph does report that ECOWAS has declared a state of emergency over the resurgence of coups, expanding terrorist activities, and declining electoral inclusivity across West Africa. Now, the president of ECOWAS, Omar Touré, has said, and he is calling for stronger joint action, more frequent Security Council meetings, and credible elections as several states prepare for votes coming next year. Let's move on to the Daily Times. Let's take a look at the Daily Times. Now, the Daily Times reports that the Nigerian Labour Congress has scheduled a nationwide protest on the 17th of December this year. They are urging for the federal government to address rising insecurity, and they're hoping that a strike or a protest, rather, would do just that. Let's move on to another paper. We'll take a look at the Daily Sun. The Daily Sun reports that the Senate has opened an investigation into the 15 billion naira Safe Schools initiative. They are questioning how the funds were used, and that includes the 6.225 billion naira allocated to the Nigeria Police Force. The committee, led by Senator Orji Uzor Kalu, has requested a full breakdown of spending and contractor details to ensure accountability. And still in that same vein, if we take a look at the Daily Independent this morning, the Daily Independent reports that our very own Vice President, Kashim Shettima, has called out-of-school children a national emergency. He is urging government and private sector collaboration. He says that Nigeria's education budget rose to 3.52 trillion naira in 2025, highlighting the expanded TET fund, UBC, and student loans to support and to ensure access for all when it comes to education. Well, we can move on to the leadership this morning. The leadership reports that the Senate has summoned Aviation Minister Festus Keyamo and key stakeholders in the aviation industry over soaring domestic airfares. Now, lawmakers have been raising concerns that ticket prices on major routes now range from 400,000 to 650,000 naira, far beyond what many Nigerians can afford. So it is time for a discussion on that. Moving on to The Punch. The Punch does report a dispute between the NNPCL and Periscope Consulting over an alleged $42.37 billion oil revenue shortfall. It is prompting FAC to order joint reconciliation, and this is while the World Bank is calling for greater transparency in the industry. The Vanguard this morning reports on tensions after a Nigerian Air Force 3130 and 11 soldiers were detained, or they found their way in Burkina Faso for allegedly entering its airspace without clearance. Now, the Alliance of Sahel states, including Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, they have condemned the violation and put air defenses on alert. Meanwhile, Nigeria said that the plane made a precautionary landing due to technical issues, and all personnel had been released and are safe and were safe while they were over in Burkina Faso. The Daily Trust, however, does report that as Nigeria observes International Human Rights Day today, which is 2025, today's, of course, the 2025 edition of International Human Rights Day, human rights violations are rising. They've been driven by insecurity, impunity, poverty, and weak enforcement. Now, analysts have been citing systemic issues, including a lack of accountability, there's poor court enforcement, and low civic vigilance. While the HHRC notes that greater awareness and social media reporting makes abuses more visible, essentially calling on more people to speak out about human rights abuses. That is what we have in terms of our newspapers and our Wealth Brief stories. Can't wait to hear your thoughts.
So a couple of things, Femi. I'm not a fan of Tony Blair, but I think it's very hypocritical to say, oh, because he brought about that war or he supported that war in the Middle East, an invasion of Iraq, the real person that committed that act that just tagged Tony Blair along was the president of America, then was George Bush. And why I think it's hypocritical is that afterwards, he had served in the Middle East Quartet. Straight after Tony Blair left power, and you said he did those things when he was in power, and you allowed him to serve in the Middle East Quartet to bring peace in the Middle East between Israel and Palestine, and now years after you are reminding him of what he did. Why didn't you stop from serving in the Quartet then? And all of this international buffer plan is hypocritical. There's a breaking story yesterday that was carried on The Guardian in the UK, that an Israeli military officer was talking about the fact that the new line that has been drawn in Gaza is the new border. So all of this is just hypocritical. Israel has encroached more land in Gaza as we speak today. They have redrawn the border and they have moved on. As regards Congo, real quickly, that crisis can be solved between Tshisekedi and the president of Rwanda. It is not today. M23 had been defeated before in the early 2012, 2013, 2014. There was a guy called Mohamed Ndala, the Lion of Goma. He was the one that led the MONUSCO force to defeat M23 in Goma. They can use the MONUSCO force, defeat M23, while the government also supports the disintegration of FDLR, because the Rwandans are fearing that FDLR too might attack them. So once you take out those two rebel groups and the two governments are committed to solving the two rebel groups, to taking out the two rebel groups, then peace will return to the region. It's not by going to America. It's something that if you lock both of them in a room, I'm talking about Tshisekedi and Paul Kagame, and tell them must find solution, they disintegrate those two rebel groups, M23 and FDLR, peace returns. But both of them are not ready. Let them keep playing politics and killing people.
All right, well, Australia has set the pace with regards to the under-16 social media ban. This has been debated for a while, and a timeline was given for 10 listed and identified social media platforms, very popular social media platforms, to put their house in order by ensuring that people who were under the age of 16 were not logged into their accounts. And so they've begun the cleanup. And like you mentioned, the penalty for that is a heavy fine. The reason for this, according to eSafety, which is a safety regulator in Australia, let me quote them, is to protect young Australians from pressures and risks that users can be exposed to while logged into social media accounts. Now, a number of people have praised this. Yes, a few dissenting voices saying that, oh, it's a restriction of freedom of expression. Their voices, the children might find alternative ways and means to still access these platforms without proper regulation and oversight. And so that argument still subsists. But what they're saying is that at the moment in Australia, if you're under 16, you have no business being on social media in order to protect you. Now, this is not, when we talk about protection of young people, underage people on social media, Europe has taken a stance in to a certain extent. Australia's move is the steepest so far. For instance, in Italy, if you're under the age of 14 years old, you need parental consent to be on social media. If you are in France, under 15 years old, you need parental consent to also be on social media, and the social media platforms have a duty to ensure that they verify your age before you sign on. So we see that different countries around different parts of the world are finding ways to protect their young people. We've heard things around online bullying. We've heard things around phishing accounts. We have seen in very extreme cases where young people have taken their lives based on the level of bullying that they've experienced on social media. And so this conversation is one that's been had. Now, New Zealand is trying to copy that action, and more countries watching how successful it would be in Australia might actually toe that line to ensure that they protect young people, young adults across these countries. But let's see how it would work out, because like they said, finally, I'll mention this point around deep fakes, VPN being used, even though that's part of the provisions for the social media platforms to look into, but to see how they'll be able to manage it. And if it's successful, other countries might definitely toe this line.
Well, the land of the kangaroos, that's what Australia is known as, has become a test case for other countries who are trying to provide restrictions and to protect the children who are exposed to the internet. Now, before now in the US, if under federal law, the restriction is age of 13. But in other states, Utah, Arkansas, California, New York, attempts have been made to even provide more restrictions. In Sweden also is saying it will provide restrictions. UK Technology Secretary says it is studying what is happening in the land of the kangaroos very closely, and will also make similar recommendations. In Russia, Instagram and Facebook are already banned. However, it is in Australia that you now first have a formal national law. It was passed 34-19 in the Senate overnight. It will now go to the House of Reps, where there is a majority of the ruling party. So it's going to pass in Australia. But as you pointed out, the challenge is about implementation. 2, it's about free speech advocates like Elon Musk, who say that this is an attack on free speech. Now, the law, in my view, doesn't go far enough. It penalizes the tech companies. It says they will pay $50 million if they violate. But it doesn't place penalties on parents and the children. So I think parents too should be penalized, because parents have a role to play in this matter, as you have seen in other jurisdictions. As for DRC, while they were still meeting with President Trump, who was saying he was delivering peace, there was already a problem back home in the DRC. Now the last zone that the M23 have not captured, Uvira, they've gone there. They've captured Goma. They've captured Bukavu. Now they've captured Uvira. Now, and then Burundi is also getting involved. The fear is about a further escalation in the Great Lakes region. When they met in Washington, we said, will this thing work? President Kagame calls Tshisekedi a manipulator consistently, and now we have this blowout. As for Tony Blair, it's not just that he supported the Iraqi invasion. He is also involved in some projects in Gaza, particularly Trump's, what does he call it? The Trump Riviera, and that raised concerns among the diplomats in the Middle East. So those are the issues in that particular regard.
Well, thank you very much, Adefemi, for bringing us the World Brief and also a look at some of the top stories in today's newspapers. We'll take a short break now. When we return, we will have Rotu Sodiri to give us updates on global business activities. Stay with us.
Support the Special Seats Bill for Women.
This is a bill about making sure that every woman who makes up half of our population have a seat where decisions that affect their lives, their children, and our collective prosperity are being made. I'm calling on all of us, my distinguished colleagues in the Senate, members of House of the Representatives, governors, traditional rulers, and every Nigeria who believes in fairness to support this bill wholeheartedly. This is about our future. This is about leaving a better legacy for those coming after us. Thank you all. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Distinguished lawmakers, your vote for the Special Seats Bill for Women is a vote for inclusion, progress, and the future of our democracy. This message is brought to you by the Policy and Legal Advocacy Center, PLAC.
In most parts of the world, girl child are not recognized in a family. I hope all this problem holding down a girl child did not hold me down.
The idea behind the project is to identify schools that we think the parents are not economically empowered to sponsor their children to schools.
In demonstration of our commitment to reducing that number, we've come here today to provide some of the essentials that we believe would help the children in school. We worked with different schools in 5 states across the country, and we reached out to 15,000 children.
I want to be a food scientist, and Polaris Bank is helping me realize this dream. I'm perfectly excited.
Daddy, someone said washing plates is only for girls and last-born.
What do you think, my star?
I told them it's not. Even Harry helps.
In this family, we share everything.
Wow, it's like magic.
Magic we can all share. With Morning Fresh, cleaning feels easier and faster.
With Morning Fresh's 10 times multi-action power, show love and care because dishes aren't just one person's job.
Progress no dey happen just like that. It come from support when you need her.
Mommy, I got the school fees. You too much.
Now money point to
Money points, thank you.
customer. Now transfer Abi confirm.
Bro, na transfer. Na money point oga. Oh, na confirm.
Progress na peace of mind when you know say payment go land at Sure Banker. Progress na small win wey dey carry person go far.
No worry, yourself go make am. No go buy ball.
Victor, even you they use money point?
Of course now, they use money point.
Confirm.
Money point made for your progress.
Hi everyone. Have you heard of EB Buy Christmas Bonanza? I guess you haven't. This Awufu Brekete is starting from November 15th to December 31st. EasyBuy is offering reduced interest rates, discount on screen insurance, amazing gift items, food stuff, and many more. EasyBuy, buy now, pay later.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Now for global business updates, Rotus Odiri joins us. Good morning, Rotus.
Good morning, Dr. Bassi. Good morning, Ayo, Rufai, all our viewers. Shout out to YouTube. We'll be shouting out our YouTube viewership community there. Red, it's all blood red in Asia today, or because we had, I think, the market was mixed in the US yesterday, and with respect to investors are just, they're really tepid right now in anticipation of what to come with the Federal Reserve. But they're talking about a hawkish cut, which I'll get to that and explain it, which is two opposing things at the same time. So across the board, just it's all red in Asia, just to wait and see what the Fed does and then the outlook for the future. We go to Australia. It's not just the Fed that's making decisions. The Reserve Bank of Australia held interest rates at 3.6%. And let's look at a portion of their statement. They're still talking about the fear of inflation to the upside. So according to the statement they put out, the recent data suggests the risks to inflation have tilted to the upside, but it will take a little longer to assess the persistence of inflationary pressures in Australia. I think 3.8% is the last print for October in the London. You've touched on this already, the under 16 social media ban going live, effective today. Parliament voted on this last year. We talked about it. Under 16 accounts are to be disabled. This is in US dollars, $33 million, but it's 49 million Australian US for non-compliance. Excess, they will comply. Free speech advocates have come out to say the government should not be in the business of trying to have parents outsource their responsibilities to them. But this was a report the government put out. Behind the screen, the reality of the assurance and social media access for young Australians came out in February of 2025. They put out this, this was part of the campaign from the government. This is the e-safety body in the government of Australia. So if you look at the figures, they said 95% of 13 to 15-year-olds in 2024 used social media in Australia. Take a look at this number, and we're going to come back to this when we get to Netflix and Warner Brothers. YouTube, 73%, Snapchat, 63%. That is the end of 13 to 15-year-olds using social media. TikTok, 62%, Instagram, 56%. I think Facebook was about 41%. Then they said 80% of 8 to 12-year-olds also use social media in 2024. So this is part of the data they're trying to use. Anthony Albanese, the Prime Minister, says they should go and learn to play an instrument or go and play in playgrounds and do other things. All right, getting to Netflix now and Warner Brothers. Netflix has come out to say that they are super confident that they will, this deal to buy Warner Brothers will go through. Meanwhile, Mr. Ellison, the CEO of Paramount Skydance, apparently he's been trying to court shareholders of Warner Brothers in order to persuade them to take the deal. But this was some data that came out. I mentioned YouTube, right? These are monthly TV viewing shares by distributor in the United States. This is according to Nielsen. Everybody knows Nielsen as a body that issues data on ratings. Look at this. YouTube for October is 12.9. Now, of course, the regulators are looking at quote unquote premium scripted content that people pay for in terms of whether or not this is antitrust. But YouTube is mostly user-generated data. But still, if you were to put them in the category of TV share by distributor, they are the far and away the leader here. And by the way, YouTube monthly active users is about anywhere from 2.5 to 2.7 billion. So they are far and away the leader here. And Netflix is using that as their argument to say that even if we combine with Warner Brothers, we're not going to get anywhere to YouTube. Again, shout out to our Arise News YouTube viewers, always very active there. Walt Disney's at 11.4, NBC Universal at 8.6, Fox and all their subsidiaries at 8.4 there. Here's Paramount at 8.2. Look at Netflix at 8%, way behind, and 5.6. Greg Peters was at a UBS event yesterday, I think in New York, or was it California? And here's what he said. He was making this argument about the deal and why regulators will approve it. Here he is.
We go from 8% of view hours today in the United States to 9%. So we're still behind YouTube at 13%. And potentially worth noting that we would be behind what would be if Paramount combined with WBD, them at 14%. So we think that there's a really strong fundamentals-based case here for why regulators should approve this.
All right, moving on to the Federal Open Market Committee today. 25 basis point cut is what is expected, but there is expected to be a lot of dissent because the Fed's dual mandate is at odds. You've had inflation that is, okay, maybe back up. The dual mandate of the Federal Reserve, like every other central bank in the world, is price stability. So you're talking about moderating inflation and full employment with the labor market. But you've had a weak labor market in the United States. We should call for a cut. And sticky inflation to the upside, we should call for a hike. So they are at odds. You've had different Fed governors with different comments. Some of them are calling for a cut. Some of them are calling for a hold. You have Trump putting in Stephen Miller, and there's all these people who want cuts. So we're going to see what happens. The markets are pricing in an 84% chance of a cut. But the hawkish cut is that they are looking to listen to what Jerome Powell is going to say about the future. And they could surprise everyone. They might hold. So we'll see what happens later on today. And I think to round off, the Nigerian Stock Exchange, the bullish momentum was cut yesterday. Since the beginning of the month, I mean, Monday, December 1st, the markets were down. But from Tuesday all the way through to Monday of this week, the Nigerian Stock Exchange has been on an upward swing. But yesterday, it did take a breather, falling by 33 basis points. All share index at 146,940. And yet to date, we're up to 42, or rather down, since the market fell yesterday, to 42.76% year-to-date return. So that's our update for today.
Okay, real quickly, Rotus. According to FCC laws, there are key restrictions against foreign government ownership, and their representatives are prohibited from owning any radio license. Foreign individuals and corporations can't own more than 20% of a broadcast license of a parent company or a controlling broadcast license. All right?
So you're talking about Paramount and Warner Brothers,
I'm talking about Paramount.
Yeah.
We also know the fact that the Saudis are bringing money into this deal. What's going to be the declaration of what the Saudis are bringing into this deal? Secondly, the deal does not also pass the test of, ethical values, because Trump's son-in-law is bringing in the affinity partners into the deal. Thirdly, when you look at, anti-competition laws, go back to the Shaman Act of the 1800s. A deal that had been concluded in a bulk auction, and now you want to use mercantile, Machiavellian tactics to usurp after an auction had been concluded, by putting an all-cash-in deal. Fourthly, the fact that when this deal closes, if it closes in favor of Paramount, which might be the case because the deal is still on the table till about the 8th of January, because Trump will use his influence. If it closes in favor of Paramount, after Paramount Skydance had bought CBS, then you will have CNN, because Warner Bros. Discovery has CNN with them.
That's right.
Then what's going to happen? You're going to have two television media behemoths.
The umbrella,
Then you are going to have a Barry Weiss, which is a very pro-Trump advocate, lead editorials of these media outlets. then you're also going to lose jobs because you're going to say you want to have efficiency and collapse departments. For instance, maybe investigative departments of CNN will collapse with that of CBS. So when you look at it, this is just another hegemonic media deal in the offing.
Yeah. You guys had Aisha Shesay here on here to
Yes,
talk
we
about
did.
that, right? Yeah,
Yes,
remember
yes,
that great
she
interview.
touched on that when she came in. Okay, very quickly, still back onto the social media ban, but in terms of Australia, yes, for under 16s, but this time business-wise. Now, for under 16s in Australia, when you look at the data released, there's little to no advertising targeted at under 16s. So in terms of loss of revenue, it's not significant. However, the potential of people who then cross over to that age to becoming maybe they become addicted to social media and then see it as part of their everyday lifestyle is what is being looked at from a business perspective. So for Australia, in terms of loss of revenue, loss of taxes might not be significant. But for business owners, from a business point of view, the argument would always be that you're making us potentially lose customers in the future. Right. I say this because a number of young people who were interviewed have said that, this is now part of their lives. How are they going to recover? Now, if they find an alternative to social media and the addiction or what they get from social media, it might very well be a challenge for them when you're looking at business projection for the next few years. So maybe this might be an opportunity for businesses to rethink their strategy, maybe how to get them back into or value proposition for crossing over from that over 16-year-olds to that. Yeah. Now, in terms of the fine, you can criticize it that it's little to nothing based on the revenue that's generated and how much money they are expected to pay for failing to protect the young people in Australia. But it might also be an avenue for revenue because I don't know how this is going to work in the area of implementation. We've already had news around VPN, young people circumventing the process. We already had around issues of deep fakes, AI. I support the policy because as it was illustrated, as has been argued, a number of young people research has shown that it impacts on their mental health, impact on their social skills. Bullying is at an all high, and it has been linked to use of social media at an early age. So,
all right. Okay, we look forward today to the Federal Reserve, U.S. Federal Reserve post-meeting conference, where traders are expecting that there will be a cut up to about 84.6% in terms of expectation, quarter basis points cut. Yeah. But there are a number of issues, one of which is President Trump, ahead of that post-meeting conference, is now saying 4 persons who were appointed to the Federal Reserve, that their appointments were signed with the auto pen by President Biden. And therefore, this auto pen, whatever decision is taken by those 4 persons, will be invalid. Yeah. They include Jerome Powell, Jefferson, Michael Barr, and Lisa Cook. Yep. So is this going to be politicized later today? The other issue, of course, is that it's not just about what they decide, the 25 basis points. There's a conversation around whether this will be a hawkish cut. And what the traders, the investors mean by hawkish cut is that we have to look at the dot plot. The dot plot gives us what the economic projections will be. And it's the economic projections that will determine what will come after. Yeah. However, finally, investors are protecting themselves. Yep. Silver has reached its highest point per ounce, new record, $60 per ounce, and gold is also doing very well at $4,000 per ounce. Yep. 50% growth in terms of the value of gold in the market this year.
We need a commodity segment, Dr. Abbasi.
So what we find is that investors are looking, for safe havens. Yes, because when there is any interest rate cut, everybody is looking for safe haven. But we'll wait for the post-conference meeting to hear what the dot plot is and what decision has been taken. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll take a short break now. And when we return, we'll be talking to a former member of the House of Reps and a Rivers State elder statesman, Honorable Bernard Miko. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Support the Special Seats Bill for Women.
I am in full support of special seats for women in the National Assembly. I believe that the inclusion of women in the legislative process, is going to be very vital to the quality of the debates in both chambers of the National Assembly, and also it will bring a sense of inclusion and variety, in both chambers of the National Assembly. So personally, I have no exception to the inclusion, of a special seat for women in each state, in both the Senate and in the House of Representatives.
Distinguished lawmakers, your vote for the Special Seats Bill for Women is a vote for inclusion, progress, and the future of our democracy. This message is brought to you by the Policy and Legal Advocacy Center, PLAC.
Hello everyone. I'm here with the woman that makes all the things happen in Fidelity Bank, the MD of Fidelity Bank.
FNITTC was conceptualized in 2022, and the whole idea was to create a platform where our exporters, lead with the global community, are able to showcase their products. What we do in the banking industry is to always try to meet the needs of our customers, and we could see that the exporters were struggling with. They didn't have a global stage on which to showcase their goods. We did so much initially in terms of capacity building. After that, the products were made, were put in proper quality, packaging and all of that. So the next step naturally is to take it to the global stage, especially if you focus on making world-class products.
Like they say, build it and they will come.
Yes, they will, don't worry about it. Build it and they will come.
All right, ma'am.
We are Fidelity. We keep our word.
When the world is spinning out, takes your feet off the ground.
For over 50 years, we continue to serve Nigeria with quality innovations. Now, let home feel like home with our range of inverter appliances that saves up to 70% on energy cost, giving you one less thing to worry about. Higher thermocool, always there for you.
Mealtime is game on. Meet my SureBet Game Changer, made from natural ingredients to deliver game-changing chicken aroma and taste for my whole team.
Mom, why did we not use this before?
Upgrade your chicken game with game-changing chicken flavor from Maggi Chicken.
My name is Austin Azuko Kocha, but you all call me JJ. That's because I was so unstoppable, they named me twice. During my days as a professional footballer, I played as an attacking midfielder. No one could stop me, not even malaria, when mosquito bites. Now you too can be unstoppable if you use Lonat against malaria.
Lonat, a combination of Artemether and Lumefantrine. Lonat, be unstoppable.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has officially defected from the People's Democratic Party, PDP, to the ruling All Progressives Congress. The governor announced his decision on Tuesday during a stakeholders meeting held at the Government House in Port Harcourt. Speaking at the meeting, Fubara explained that the decision was tied to his desire to fully align with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Fubara's defection adds to a growing list of PDP governors who have recently crossed over to the APC, including Delta State Governor Sheriff Oborewore, Akwa Ibom State Governor Umoeno, Enugu State Governor Peter Mba, and Bayelsa State Governor Doye Diri. For more on this, well, we take our next guest, who is already here with us, Honorable Bernard Miko. Honorable Miko, thank you very much for joining us on the morning show.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abati.
Well, Honorable Miko, Governor Fubara told us yesterday that he had good news. And the good news that he's now standing on the mandate of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And we saw he and his colleagues singing, on your mandate we shall stand. Bola, on your mandate. Anyway, did this come to you as any surprise? And what do you feel about the fact that all the 6 states in the South are now in the APC? Only 3 states in the whole of the South are still with the opposition. Only 2 out of the 19 in the North are in the opposition. So what's your reading of this situation that we are faced with ahead of the 2027 elections?
Well, yes, thank you very much, Dr. Abati. I think Nigerians, this move by Fubara yesterday or the day before wouldn't come to any Nigerian as a surprise, because the major objective of a political party is to win election. And our laws have provided that you must have a solid platform to win an election, more so as an opposition. So you know that the PDP as it is today is not as strong even as a banana leaf or a plantain leaf, because the party became so weak immediately after the going towards the tenure of the end of the tenure of President Jonathan. And the stakeholders, governors, during that 2014 convention, 5 of them walked out of the convention and formed the MPDP, which you are very aware of. Since then, all the moves they have been doing, I worked then as a special advisor to the Dr. Bamanga Tuku on policy monitoring, policy evaluation and monitoring to Dr. Bamanga. And I saw all what was happening. The party members acted brazenly with impunity. The party the party emblem became a franchise, for trading and all sorts of things. So we are not surprised if Fubara has left the party today. He's looking for a stronger platform. He wasn't protected by the platform that brought him to power. I contested the 2015 governorship election, and I saw what happened. The leader of the party after Jonathan left of the state, or during this time, was the first lady then, was the de facto leader of the party in the state. So you can see how the party became fractionalized. They sold themselves against themselves, and that is where we have found ourselves today. I think it's right. Rivers people are happy that Fubara has found, he has negotiated his way into a stronger platform that can give him the kind of protection which Rivers Sport needs. It's not about him. We have had experiences of fighting from opposition right from the time of, right from 1887. Time of King George of Opobo, how he was deposed. So we don't want to play much of opposition politics. We want to be part of the secondary, where decisions affecting our state will be made. And that is why he has taken the step he has taken today.
Okay, all right, he's taking the steps. Now, of course, like you mentioned earlier on, that political parties want to win elections. Do you think by this move, Governor Fubara will now be in a better chance to get that much, I'm sure, desired second-term opportunity to run on the platform of the APC? Or are there other contenders who might give him a hard time to clinching that ticket?
Well, now we are focused on having a platform that will protect him. You know that the party did not, the former DC did not protect him because the party was weak. as today, Fubara has the organic support from the people. What you had in Rivers State during all these tempests was a kind of movement to support our state, to achieve what we want to achieve. I think Fubara's main, the main concern of Rivers State now is to implement the budgets that have been passed. You know that there was an interim for 6 months, for this state of emergency, which we think that he has to, yes.
Honorable Miko, you said the party, his former party, PDP, didn't support him. Some might argue and say that actually the APC did a lot of damage to his time in, at least so far in government. Number one is the peace deal between him and Wike that was signed in Aso Villa, or at least it was overseen by the president. Most of it favored Nyesom Wike, who was his political godfather. His suspension for 6 months, whereby a military administrator was under an APC government. So how did they support him or favor him? Instead, the people who supported him were the countless number of, elder statesmen, women who came out to stand in support of him. The PDP challenged the decision of the state of emergency in court. How did the PDP not support him? And the APC, which instituted the state of emergency in the first place, are the ones that supported him?
Well, the Rivers people, as you can see, that came out, they were supporting the state. They supported him as an individual because he had the organic support. They were not against him or against any political party. As you can see today, but the PDP is very weak, and they should blame themselves for what has happened to them. You saw how they didn't take disciplinary measures against those who were doing anti-party, and they were dining with them. So what do you expect him to do? Look at the entire South. Every other governor has gone to AP because they are not sure. You don't know what the court will decide, in case he remains there. So I think the best thing for him is to go. He is not acting alone. He's been consulting with Rivers people. And most of all, we have told him that, look, as we have the ship of state have run into tempest, please take us to where we can be safe so that we can deliver the dividends of democracy and develop our state.
Okay, Mr. Bernard Miko, I would like to ask you, what has changed? Because some positions you are espousing today are quite very alien to me. Mr. Bernard Miko, please fact-check me as an interviewer today. Didn't PDP governors take the case of state of emergency to court when the state of emergency happened? Correct me if I'm wrong. Fact-check me. Didn't they take the state to court?
Yes, they took
didn't they take the matter to court?
Yes, they took.
In favor of who did they take the matter to court?
You see, there.
No, I'm asking. In favor of who did they take the matter to court? In favor of Fubara, yes or no?
Because
no, in favor of Fubara, yes or no? Yes. Okay, that's one point. Secondly,
yes.
While all of this happened, so we've been able to establish and to nullify the argument that the PDP didn't defend, the PDP governors all took the federal government to court in favor of Fubara because he couldn't file his case because he was there. Secondly, the case of the humiliation. Because I remember the words you said when they were humiliating Fubara here. And I'm shocked at this position you have taken, Honorable Bernard Miko. When the humiliation started, all the Rivers elders were standing with Fubara. We all concluded that that deal was a wrong deal. Even when they brought in Ibok Abbas Ete, or Ibok Abbas, the military administrator, that till today, we have not inquired how he spent the money in Rivers State, that most civil servants these are complaining they have not been paid. We all said what President Tinubu did was wrong there, no? So what changed? I'm asking you, sir.
Well, Rufai, you know too well that we, the elders, particularly former members of National Assembly, which I spoke for then, and I was on this platform, we spoke against the state of emergency, especially the processes, and that there was no threat, no imminent threat to pipelines or to indigenes of Rivers State to have necessitated. But in the wisdom of the president and from what the National Assembly have done, the state of emergency has already been proclaimed, and he was out of
So you
office.
admit it was a political state of emergency?
It is not for the House of Assembly.
So you admit that state of emergency
was wrong? Of course, you know that.
And it was a political state of emergency.
We all said so.
But do you also know
we all said so
that it is that state of emergency that Fubara has now gone to say that the president used to favor him and they stood with him for? That if not, he will have been an impeached governor today. So that's why I'm asking you that you are supporting this move today. What's changed? The same state of emergency that they used to humiliate Fubara is the same state of emergency that Fubara is saying they used to save him. So what's changed? Because children are watching. Values are important. What's changed?
You see, in politics, the most important thing is to align yourself to where you will be safe. And that is exactly what he has done. He, as the chief executive of the state, understands perfectly well. We might be sitting on the sidelines. We don't read security reports. He knows where his bread is buttered. He knows what was going through. He knows what was happening. And we thought, looking at the voice vote adopted by the National Assembly, we thought, as former members of National Assembly, we thought it was wrong, that there should have been head count. And we also know that looking at the insecurity all over the other parts of the nation, that it didn't meet up the threshold. So if he has seen now that state of emergency was to protect him and the people of Rivers State, of course, we will agree with him that he should take a step now. We need to forget what has happened in the past. Let people, like I said before, let the academia and the research people like Ruben, Dr. Abate and all that, let them look into it and begin to bring out all these facts that what Fubara is saying is right or wrong. Let it be an academic issue so that our children and grandchildren will learn from it.
Honorable Meko, I think that,
please.
What Governor Fubara has done is a game of self-preservation. I don't think this has anything to do with Rivers State and how things can be better for Rivers. But let me ask you, some people are saying we are now having a one-party state. Only 3 states in the South are still in the opposition, about just 2 in the North, out of 36 states. Now, it looks like APC has already won the 2027 election because some of those remaining 5 in the opposition may still join the APC. So don't you think this may raise questions of legitimacy about the victory of the APC in 2027, when the election takes place? If the remaining members of the opposition decide to boycott that 2027 election, what do you think? Or you think it doesn't matter? APC can take everywhere.
Well, I don't think is the task or it should be the responsibility of the ruling party to begin to try to put the opposition party in order. They are mature people. Most of them have been in politics for long. So it is not for the APC to go to the various states and put structures when the ship is already sinking and nobody wants to remain in the sinking ship. So what they should do, I think they should, after this election, they should go and recalibrate themselves and see what they have gone wrong. And they give us research assignments to students to see where they have, why we came to this position we are today. So I don't blame the APC.
Honorable Meko, in one sentence, is this a triumph for Minister Wike, the godfather of Rivers State politics? Yes or no? Wike has won, hasn't he?
Wike is not, Wike is not, he has not declared for the APC, even if he said he is working for the APC. He's not declared for the APC. It's a trial for Rivers people because the party, the state as at now is being led by Similar Fubara. So where he goes, Rivers will follow him because he has the organic support. Wike is doing well in Abuja as FCT minister. And this is the first time we are having a minister of FCT from the South for a very long time. So we are happy with what he's doing. But you cannot say that it's a trial for Wike.
Thank you, Honorable Meko. Thank you. We'll see. We'll take a short break now. And when we return, we'll be talking to political scientist Dr. Kunle Fagbemi on the federal government's intervention in Benin Republic. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
In this life, it's what you do behind that shows in front.
Now we know. Give us the fire. Tell us more. It's Cosmo or nothing. Touch me or not. This is Cosmo.
That's why I roll with Cosmo deodorant. No sweat, no stains, no odor.
Now you know.
Cosmo Roll-On Whitening Deodorant.
All day freshness, 7 days a week from GDS Cosmetics.
Emergencies happen when you least expect them to. It gets worse when you are cash-strapped. No need to despair. First Advance has you covered. You can get that urgent cash right now on First Advance. With First Advance, salary earners can get up to 50% of their salary. No hassles, as long as you earn a monthly salary and your salary account has been active for at least 2 months. It doesn't matter if you run a salary account with First Bank or any other bank. Just dial *894*11# or simply dial *894# on your mobile phone. What's more, when you open a First Bank salary account, you can enjoy 0 charges and free debit card issuance. Download the First mobile app on Play Store or App Store today. Log in to experience First Bank digital banking. Select loans, select First Advance, and follow the prompts to receive your loan. Don't let that urgent need get the best of you. Get First Advance now. It's as simple as dialing *894*11#. First Advance. Fast, convenient, secure. You first. First Bank.
May every move you make this festive season radiate with joy. Glow Unlimited.
Progress no dey happen just like that. It dey come from support when you need am.
Mommy, I get the school fees. You too much.
Na money point o.
Money point, thank you.
Customer, na transfer abi? Confirm.
Bro, na transfer. Na money point oga. Oh, na confirm.
Progress na peace of mind when you know say payment go land as sure banker. Progress na small wind wey dey carry person go far.
No worry, yourself go make am. Mo go buy ball.
Victor, even you dey use money point?
Of course, na they use money point.
Confirm.
Money point made for your progress.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. The Senate has approved President Bola Tinubu's request to deploy troops to Benin Republic. This is over a botched coup in the West African nation about 72 hours after Nigeria Air Force took control of Benin airspace following the sitting president's request for assistance. Tinubu's request was conveyed in a letter read by the Senate. President Godswill Akpabio joined plenary on Tuesday, December 9. For more on this, political scientist, national security and defense management scholar, and statecraft specialist joins us, Dr. Ayokunle Fagbemi. He's joining us from our Abuja studio. Good morning, Dr. Fagbemi, and you're most welcome to the morning show.
Thank you very much, Ayo.
Well, Dr. Fagbemi, two issues. Nigeria's involvement in the situation in Benin Republic on the request of the Beninese authorities, now ratified in line with the Constitution by the Senate of the Federal Republic. Your thoughts on that? And then the detention of our military Air Force aircraft in Burkina Faso for violating the airspace of the Alliance for Sahelian States, the AES. Although the Nigerian Air Force has now said, that was a precautionary landing and that the matter has been resolved and that the Burkina Faso authorities have been very cooperative in this regard. Is there any issue there at all?
Thank you very much for having me, and I want to thank you for your service to the fatherland, Dr. Abati, because on Monday, you gave the federal government of Nigeria and the people at the presidency of the Nigerian state the required expo on what they ought to do after missing the point and failing to follow the required procedures. The required procedures, peradventure, we received a request like we are purporting and alleging to have received from the Benin authorities, President Patrice Talon, is ideally for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, because ideally it should come as a note verbal. And if you have a note verbal, it's expected that that note verbal should be processed by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Nigeria's intelligence agency in charge of external operations, which is a national intelligence agency. Now, the question is, did the incumbent president allow the due diligence by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the National Intelligence Agency? They will explain that to the country in due course, I want to believe. The second issue is that based on the provisions of Section 5, which has now been alluded to in the letter correspondence to the Senate of the Federal Republic, the National Defense Council ought to have been activated. And usually when you have such a situation, to activate it in crisis situations like we had on Sunday, you will require to expand the scope of participation and ensure that the person that will take the minutes of such a critical meeting is going to be the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. The Attorney General, Minister of Justice is expected to be in attendance at that meeting for him to provide legal counsel and opinions based on our domestic laws and international legal and policy frameworks that we may have subscribed to ensure that we operated within the ambits of these instruments. Interestingly, in the letter addressed to the Senate of the Federal Republic, it was alluded that this was being done primarily because it was to be done in aid of brotherhood and within the collective responsibilities for security and stability of the region, ECOWAS, which automatically leads us to discuss what is the exact procedure for deploying standby troops for operation for ECOWAS. Ideally, under normal circumstance, the Mediation and Security Council ought to have met. And within the dynamics of what happened on Sunday, that was impossible. And that is where the MFA, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the National Intelligence Agency ought to have been actively involved. Their level of involvement is suspect. Two is the fact that ECOWAS statement that we can refer to as being a Cosa Belli facilitator for action to have been taken, because according to the protocols and instruments, there must be a strategic directive. The instrument that is in public domain was not signed. It was just a statement on a paper with the logo of ECOWAS, which in itself brings us to another question of how come that was issued? Was it issued under the authority of the incumbent president of the commission? And the next thing that ought to have taken place was for us to have had the head of state and authority decision. Head of state authority decision means that at least a 2/3 of the members constituting that authority, that is the existing members of the community, would have met and given the go-ahead so that this is now being done in such a manner that they can now issue the mandate communique. And after issuing the mandate communique, the national legal approval, which comes back to our Section 5 of the 1999 Constitution. Now, when you ask yourself within the context of the number of hours and minutes during which a decision was taken and the deployment of troops were done, we will need to ask the presidency of the Nigerian state to find out if truly these were followed. And incidentally, another issue that comes up is the fact that we are now having some schisms with the AES, the Sahelian community, as it were, on this subject matter, mindful of the fact that a certain President Macron of France tweeted that he actually had a phone conversation with the president of the Nigerian state. Should that be true, and it has not been denied by anybody, it is clear that it may have ended up being a continuation of the operation that the French have been trying to do to isolate and ensure that the AES states do not have access to a coastal platform. So do we see this Sunday coup as a real coup or a stage-managed coup? Because those of us who are familiar with the way coups do occur, you do not expect that it will have been handled the way it was handled. So if we ended up playing into the hands of people, we need to be very careful, and Nigeria must be careful, so that as we go on, we will now link it up with what happened with our Charlie 130.
All right, okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Fagbemi, for that statement. Now, I want to ask you around some of the risks or so the things that might be a risk in Nigeria's intervention. Number one, of course, must be the conversation around our already overstretched military and our capacity for external intervention, despite the importance you've highlighted. Beyond that, of course, is also the cost on the Nigerian past. We keep talking about revenue generation, revenue to fund projects, and we look at the cost to actually intervene. Do this, what I would term risks, outweigh the gains of strengthening national security? There have also been arguments around the benefits for Nigeria, not just as big brother in the West African region or African continent, but also the fact that because we share a border with the country, there might be repercussions if we didn't intervene.
Thank you very much. Ideally, the risk assessment would have been done at a properly constituted National Defense Council, which is the reason why we're always pleading with them to do the statutory things. You will agree with me that a number of economic interfaces occur between the republics of Benin and Nigeria. So ideally, intervening if it was truly based on a valid request that was properly processed, and I'm saying this advisedly, it would be a welcome development. If we ended up falling into an entrapment of a French pseudo containment of the AES that was schemed in such a way and manner not to allow the AES have access to the coastal port system, that will have them have access unhindered, then we would have made a mistake. And this is where I want to believe that the National Assembly will have to institute a very well coordinated inquiry to understand the dynamics that we are dealing with. Because when you now look at it, failure to do what was supposed to have been done on Sunday meant that by Monday, an equipment that ought to have gone for routine checks left the shores of Nigeria and then had trouble mid-air and had to land in Bobo Dioulasso in the Republic of Burkina Faso. Now, that was now being manipulated, as it were, into a standoff and face-off. And I want to thank God that the 11 officers and men that were on board that Charlie 130 are safe and sound, and they are about to continue their journey to Portugal. You will be mindful of the fact that the information released by the Nigerian Air Force and the statements from our very good friend who is now with the infamy of releasing statements without thinking through and going through the documents by Ononuga indicated that, yeah, we were going on this mission. It was supposed to be a ferry flight to go for repairs. What is the protocol for sending equipments for ferry flight for repairs? Ideally, all the countries that they are going to pass through, and when you look at the claims from the Nigerian Air Force, it says that they were going to Portugal. First thing the Air Force ought to have done for us is to disclose properly that they were going to Ogma, a facility, and then that the crew that were on board, you'll mind you that it was the Burkina Faso authorities, the AES, that were now telling us that we have 2 crew. Meanwhile, for you to move a Charlie, you need more than 4 persons to move any Charlie 130 at any given time.
Okay. So, Dr. Fagbemi, let me make this matter more exciting for you. I see you've posited some very tedious links. There's a message that came out recently, and I've run my checks, by a certain Ibrahima Maiga. Based on my checks, he's a researcher but close to the government of Burkina Faso. It came out on his page, but it was deleted. I ran my checks officially on the presidency website in Burkina Faso, saying that Tigri, the coup plotter in Benin, had been granted asylum. But no reputable media news outlets has been able to pick it up. BBC, Al Jazeera, no confirmation yet. It was said that he deleted that tweet afterwards. I want you to now bring this tedious link. So we have no confirmation based on press time now. But I want you to bring that tedious link into the conversation of the Charlie 130 in Burkina Faso and the need for the debate that we were calling for this morning, that Mr. Akpabio just swept under the carpet, not understanding the implications of the need for a debate on a matter that borders around the sovereignty of a country, when you, and let me use the word, invaded another country. And let me go further in my analysis by saying invading another country. Because despite the note verbal, correct me if I'm wrong, as at the time that the note verbal was sent, and as at the time that the coup plotters had gone on television and announced an announcement of government, there were already 2 parallel contesting governments in town. Because the coup plotters too could have claimed legitimacy and called on a corresponding government to support them. Please, can you untangle all of this for me?
My brother Rufai, it's good to have you back from your leave, and it is clear you are never suspended.
Bless you, sir.
And I'm happy that I am engaging with you. And this is one of the reasons why some of us are always very insistent on the need to follow the rules of procedure, the standard operating procedures and principles and the protocols of the Nigerian state. You recall that I said if there were any note verbal at all, because ideally, if there were going to be note verbal in the real sense of it, it will have had to be deposited at the Nigerian mission in Cotonou. And then the telex version copied immediately to Abuja for concurrent attention. If it gets to Abuja, it comes to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and not the presidency. And this brings us to the question of, was this properly analyzed? Did the National Intelligence Agency of the Nigerian state do their due diligence? If they did not, they would have missed out on some of the components that you are bringing onto the table. And this is where we are pleading that Citizen Godswill Akpabio, in the spirit of his new birthday, a new year, that he should now begin to understand that he has a service to the fatherland and he should stop playing to the gallery. Because ultimately, what we are dealing with, if there's any truth that this was a French operation that was botched and using Nigeria to contain the AES states, we will have very bitter experiences and we now need to begin to mitigate against it. I would not want to speak directly to the subject that you were trying to raise in terms of connectivities, other than the fact that this is still an unfolding story. Unfolding in the sense that it is redefining our diplomatic practice and foreign relations in a real sense of it. I will plead with you to kindly cross-check and fact-check me with what President Obasanjo said on Sunday. That was the content of the discussion he had with President Mahama of Ghana. President Mahama of Ghana had his swearing in, and members of the AES were represented, and Traore himself came personally for that. And President Obasanjo recalled that he pleaded with Mahama to kindly open up a conversation with Traore and the others that came for the celebration with him so that he can restore them back to the ECOWAS family. But unfortunately, the men and women that were with President Mahama that came from Burkina, Mali, and Niger said something about the fact that they were not ready to listen. And there's one country of particular concern and interest, and the president of that state, who they said they were not ready to listen to. We need to interrogate that further. And we need to plead with those of them around the president, commander-in-chief of the Nigerian state, to be kind enough to allow him operate within the ambits of the law and not to be using journalistic arrogance to pass on information to people in such a way and manner that it discredits them and it puts them in jeopardy. Particularly, Bayo Ononuga needs to be mindful of the way he writes things. He wrote a statement on Sunday that through the incumbent chief of defense staff, General Oloyede, under the boss, we need to be very careful. He needs to be very mindful of that.
Okay, Dr. Fagbemi, thank you very much for joining us on the morning show. We'll take a short break now. And when we return, Oji Okpe will be here with details on what's trending. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Chef of life. I am the chef of life. Chef of life with Mr. Chef.
And your life got this.
Sanu Mama, Sanu Baba.
Haba Hassan, why do you look so lean?
I am the chef of life.
With Mr. Chef, a simple crush turns meals into culture and moments into memories.
This is a true taste of home and culture.
Mr. Chef, taste home, taste culture.
Chef of life.
Buying your Airpiece ticket just got easier with Fidelity Bank. When you book on flyairpiece.com, choose Fidelity payment options and complete your payment effortlessly. With Fidelity Bank, you can pay with transfer, fast, secure, and powered by Fidelity. Buy now, pay later, enjoy flexible payments, and travel stress-free. Book on hold. Lock in your travel plans and pay when you're ready. Whichever you choose, every transaction is quick, seamless, and protected. No stress, no hassle. Just smooth payments every time. Because with Fidelity Bank, flying Airpiece isn't just about getting there, it's about getting there with ease. Fly Airpiece. Pay the Fidelity way. Simple, safe, convenient. Visit flyairpiece.com to get started.
We are Fidelity. We
Brown Hill Events Incorporated and Glenfiddich present Worry Again, Class and Culture, the 24th edition. Get ready for a premium yet the biggest and grandest one-day show this dirty December. Top bangers, Shali Poppy, Otomoto Black, Spyro, Fiddle, Seri DL, Famous Pluto, Zlatan, Phils, Shango Johnson, Ribena, Shay Vibes, Fola, Ochiaba, Tare, and Nas Boy. Experience our timeless hits, Ianya, Style Plus, Rude Boy, Rundown, Ice Prince, MI, Duncan Mighty, and Flectorman. You also get to crack your ribs with the Stalker, MC Casino, Edo Pekin, Young Chief, Mr. Paul, Acapella, Cordons, and of course your baddest female DJs, Dope Caesar, DJ Dimple Nipple, and DJ Casper. Hype man is Shody the Turn Up King, and your host is AY. As always, gear up for a big surprise act of the night. Date is December 26, 2025. Venue, the Eco Convention Center, Victoria Island, Lagos. Time, 6 p.m. Tickets, VIP 100,000 Naira at www.worryagain.com. For table reservations, please call. Don't be told. Be there.
Imagine your wallet can be everything. Well, almost everything your bank is to you. That's exactly what First Money Wallet is. First Money Wallet from First Bank is another swift and seamless way to bank from your mobile phone. It doesn't matter if you have a First Bank account or not, nor the mobile network you use. Everyone can open a First Money Wallet, and it's very easy. Your phone number is your account number. With First Money Wallet, you can send money using just a phone number, receive money, pay bills, buy airtime and data for yourself or someone else, and in check balance. You don't need a bank account at all or BVN to enjoy the boundless possibilities First Money Wallet offers. All you need is a registered phone number, and you can fund your wallet easily through your First Bank account or any bank account and debit card. What's more, First Money Wallet is highly secure with fingerprint technology and PIN. And when you need cash, just walk up to any First Money agent near you to withdraw money. No smartphone, no wahala. Just dial *894*1# on any phone. So it doesn't matter if you live in the city or the remotest part of the country. With First Money Wallet, your transactions are easy, seamless, and secure. Download the First Money Wallet app now. Input your phone number and follow the prompts, or simply dial *894*1#. All money now on First Money. You first. First Bank.
is the story of MTN in Nigeria. Led by Nigerians with over 45% female leadership. Guided by our strategy, we continue to partner with relevant platforms, leveraging our profile as the most trusted and valued brand in Africa. We are driving digital and financial inclusion, supporting our communities and national priorities. We are proud to be the first telco to achieve over 82% coverage in 4G and the first to roll out 5G in Nigeria. We continue to deepen financial inclusion in underserved communities through our Momo agents and merchants. We are committed to ensuring that we provide through these platforms access at the fingertips of every Nigerian. Oh yes, we truly believe that everyone deserves the benefits of a modern connected life.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Joining us now with stories trending around the world is Ojiokwe, who has implications to deliver on Friday, having won a very nice award yesterday. And she's not alone.
Oji
the two of you together, we are waiting. We'll start fasting from today. Anyway, congratulations.
Thank you. Yes, let me say the award. Yes. A most important, influential person of African descent. Thank you. News anchor of the year. Rifad. And Rufai was best.
This Friday will be wonderful.
TGIF.
I am always up to the
There is now, so should I invite her?
No, you can't.
We can invite the whole town to come.
Can we start what's trending? This is trending.
We have a big newsroom. We can accommodate a lot.
Well, thank you. I also like to thank the organizers. My part, thank you very much for the honor. It's been a great year, hasn't it?
Yes, it has been.
December already. Good morning, Ayo. How are you this morning?
I like your choice of colors this morning.
Your name is Ayola. I know it. Good morning. Interesting.
I like how you call Ayomi.
Yes.
People
Yes, I gave you Ayomi. It's yours. But your real name is Ayola.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Good morning. Rufi on fire. Well, all right.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Well, all right. Well, good morning to you, viewers. Let's begin what's trending, focusing on reactions to Professor Wole Soyinka's criticism of what he described as excessive security deployment around President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's son, Seyi Tinubu, saying that it reflects poorly on Nigeria's security priorities. Speaking at the 20th Wole Soyinka Center for Investigative Journalism Awards in Lagos on Tuesday, the literary icon recounted his shock at witnessing what he initially thought was a film shoot at a hotel in Ikoyi. He then jokingly suggested that President Tinubu should have sent his son's security battalion to quell the recent insurrection in the Republic of Benin instead of deploying the Air Force and the military. Let's take a look.
One of my home visits, this about 2 months ago, I was coming out of a hotel and I saw what looked like a film set. And I looked around. There was nearly a whole battalion occupying that the grounds of that hotel in Ikoyi, right here. So I got back in my car and I asked the driver who that young man was. And he told me. And I saw this SWAT team, a mixture. They were at least heavily armed, at least some 15 or so heavily armed to the teeth security personnel. Looked sufficient to take over a small country, neighboring city like Benin. And I think the next time, the president should just call and say, Sheyi, go and quell the rebellion over there. Later on, I did some investigative journalism. And I inquired, and I found that apparently this is how this young man goes around with his battalion, his heavy armed soldiers. Of course, the road was cleared before his car went out. I stayed until it seemed he was leaving. So next time there's an insurrection, I think the president should just call that young man and say, "Come on, put down those stupid people there. You have enough troops under your command, so don't bother me with all these security issues any longer." Let's not overdo things.
Well, this is a bold statement from Nigeria's most revered public intellectual, calling out what many see, but fewer dare to criticize openly. And I'll take George's tweet on X. He wrote, Professor Soyinka's point cuts deeper than the humor in his remarks. When a nation's security architecture is stretched thin, prioritizing the protection of one individual over millions of citizens is a red flag. Nigeria is battling insecurity across several regions, yet we see battalion-level security guarding a private citizen with no constitutional role. This isn't about politics. It's about accountability, resource allocation, and respect for public institutions. Leaders' children are not elected officials. They should not command more armed protection than communities under siege. This culture of entitlement weakens morale, drains capacity, and erodes trust. If we want a secure nation, security must serve the people, not the privileged few. And Dr. Vasi, I'm sure you did see, and you have seen Sheyi Tinubu's convoy. I mean, like this ex-user alluded to, it's, you know, like a battalion. And of course, Professor Wole Soyinka said he was shocked. He thought he was in a movie set when he saw one of Sheyi Tinubu's convoy. And now we are hearing that we need more boots on ground. I'm sure this whole week, that's what you've said on this table.
Okay. Let me quote Professor Wole Soyinka directly. He said, let's not overdo things.
Yes.
He said, children are not potentates. They are not rulers. They should know their place. I think, you know, everyone should commit that to memory. So the Nobel laureate is right to have been terribly shocked that the son of the president would have such a large convoy, what he calls a battalion. A battalion will be, you know, a company of soldiers and maybe other officials. There is no office called the first son of Nigeria. There is no office in our constitution called the first daughter of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I've had certain anomalous, nomenclatures of that nature. So such positions do not exist. And that's why Professor Soyinka is saying, let us not overdo things. Now, when you place his comment against the background of the fact that there has been an instruction from the president and the IG, Inspector General of Police, that VIP protection should be withdrawn, that those who are protecting VIPs should be civil defense officers. Now, in this particular case, this battalion, were they civil defense officers or were they soldiers and policemen? And you can also ask the question, what makes the son of the president a very important personality? Or makes the...
Is the Ogo Eko?
No, when you look at the protocol list, the son of the president is not a very...
What are you
not a very important personality.
Didn't he stay ahead of ministers in the protocol list in that
Arab
country that we
condemned it. We condemned it.
Ogo Eko?
No, we condemned it when it happened. And it has not happened since then. When he was attending council meetings, even his own father said, no, don't sit in council. So now, in this instance, Professor Wole Soyinka has helped to draw the attention of the president to what is clearly an abuse. And he says, look, children should not be overindulged. They should not have a sense of entitlement. Our message is that the president should take special notice of this message from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and realized that he, having directed
the message from Wole Soyinka,
from Professor Wole Soyinka, yeah, from Professor Wole Soyinka, he should then realize that he, having directed that VIP protection is off the books because we need these soldiers to do their legitimate work. We need the policemen to do their legitimate work. Then his own son should not be seen to be going about with soldiers and policemen. He's not a VIP under the protocol list. If he needs protection, they should provide civil defense that they say can be available. He can hire private guards. There are private companies that are out there. No, some of the private companies are licensed. Yes.
Some private companies.
Yes.
They're licensed to carry guns.
In Nigeria. Show me the private
where they will carry batons.
Mention.
They will carry
the
batons.
Private company licensed to carry guns.
They will have relationship with the security agencies, but the president should lead by example and heed the advice of President Wole Soyinka.
Dr. Bati, you will tell us who the VIPs are, since the president's son is not considered a VIP. If I come to you,
it's not a government official.
It's a VVIP.
No,
it's not
very
VIP.
important.
No, it's not a government official.
Very important.
You are correct. It's not a VIP. It's not a VIP. He's a
Hold on, wait. I want to come to Rufai on this one. Meanwhile,
I have a question.
Yes, on that as well. That's why I asked him. I want to know who the VIPs are. Well, meanwhile, the Nigeria Police Force announced over the weekend that they deployed a special team to make sure that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's order of prohibiting police personnel for VIPs is adhered to. Police spokesperson Benjamin Hundeyin, in a post on X, revealed that the team has commenced a statewide monitoring operation across Lagos and assured members of the public that the Nigeria Police Force will continue to enforce this policy nationwide without fear or favor. Now they have more police personnel trying to stop police VIPs. So who are this special team that have now been deployed? How many are they? I mean, what really is going on? Rufai, I know you want to tell us who these VVIPs are, but now we also have a team to stop VIP protocol.
You can see the mockery of Nigeria. The police or President Tinubu made a law that they should withdraw police from VIP. The same law that they've been talking about. You know how many IG have said they should withdraw?
Yeah. But this is a presidential directive.
So when the presidential directive was made, the police force cannot speak to his own officers. So they have to set up a task force, a team to watch. Somebody will have thought that you just, everybody come to headquarters and you withdraw, isn't it? But the police does not trust this. Yeah? It does not trust his own process.
Well, you heard Michael Curious.
Wait, sir. He doesn't trust this. So you have a boy that doesn't trust him. So you have to go and look for task force to implement with him. The police cannot just call.
They're within the police as well, right?
The police cannot just call people to say, withdraw that. You know why? Because the withdrawing from VIP will cause problem. You know how many police officers are benefiting from VIP, that they are shopping from VIP. You now want to withdraw their retirement benefits. So it will cause big problem for them. So that's why. And secondly, I don't know, Dr. Abati, it's obvious you don't live in Nigeria. And with due respect, maybe Professor Wole Soyinka, because he shuttles around the globe, he still lectures, and great one. Is it today Seyi Tinubu has been carrying police protection? Please fact check me. Seyi Tinubu was probably using police protection before his father became president. Fact check me.
Ex-governor's son.
So, and Dr. Abati is saying, who is the VIP? It's not VIP. You are wrong. It's VVVVIP. It's the one and only. Ogo Eko, Ogo Lagos, future governor, Seyi Tinubu. Me o Simbe, I'm not there. It's Dr. Abati. He's saying all sorts about you. I defy my authorities to you. See, battalion, in fact, the ones president you can't show, you got saw. It's not good enough. They should increase more. You know, your life is under beginning. You are our future. Ogoeko, please, President Tinubu, increase Seyi Tinubu's security protection. Please, I'm sorry, Ayo. I'm sorry, please. With due respect, ignore Professor Wole Soyinka. He doesn't know what he's saying. Increase.
right,
obviously,
fine.
you know I'm
Okay,
being
Rufai.
sarcastic.
Yes, you're being sarcastic.
But
Okay,
I am
fine.
telling you
Yes.
with humor
Yeah.
the depth of the decadence
All right.
in the system.
All right. I know you had a question. So I know the question borders on whether or not, and I want that to be what we are discussing now. Who are the VIPs? If a president's son is not considered a VIP?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I would have thought that the president's immediate family members have a right to some level of protection by the Nigerian state. And that's what I was going to confirm, because if you look at democracies like America, for instance, where we have a copy system, there's protection for the immediate wife and children. So what I feel is the abuse and the excessive use, because they are politically exposed, at least whilst their parents are in office. I know that in some countries it is up to a certain age, maybe under 16, and in some countries, because they are politically exposed, they have access to state protection. However, what we saw, or what Professor Soyinka describes, is a flagrant abuse of that protection. Because, I mean, he is politically exposed as a result of the fact that his father is president of Nigeria. But when you then have a battalion for Professor Soyinka, who is a family friend, to be shocked and to complain about this, especially at a time when we're talking about the fact that we don't have enough police officers, we don't have enough security operatives, then it is something to talk about. And I think that's where the issue is. It is just an abuse. And the fact that it's not just police president's sons, but even people, normal citizens. I've seen religious leaders go around with police escorts. I've seen people who can afford to pay maybe 30,000 naira a month go around the police escorts. Those are the things that we need to stop.
Police escorts.
Those are the things we need to end.
If you say
we have to go.
the first family is entitled to
That's
protection.
the question.
Now, what does the protocol list say?
Yes.
And then Professor Soyinka said, for Sheyi Tinubu, the road was closed.
Yeah.
What kind of protection for first family is that? And then number 3, okay, will it be the case that all the children of the president, Sheyi Tinubu is not the only son that he has. He has daughters too.
Well, I'm sure
so if they want to go anywhere, they will deploy Nigerian police.
Sheyi Tinubu is not the only son, but it's Okolomo.
Okay. All right. So now, Dr. Abati, you're also saying that Sheyi Tinubu is flouting the protocol because he's not considered VIP at this point. So that means his VIP will be withdrawn as well with this presidential directive.
He has enough money to recruit private guards.
Not ours.
He can apply to civil defense.
I hope that this is a
if
comment.
the president gives a directive, let other people follow the example.
Very well said.
Even within his own family.
Dr. Abati, with due respect, I want to challenge you. They're not born anybody to remove the police protection of Sheyi Tinubu.
Not even the IGP.
They don't born away.
The Inspector General of Police.
They don't born away.
Please respect the office of the IGP.
They're not born away.
No.
Maybe the president. The president will,
you will see.
Well, Omoyele Sowore raised the point around the man that was detained and alluded to the fact that the president's son is almost more powerful than the IG of police and because of the fact that he gives a directive. So we need to curtail those excesses.
You are quoting Sowore.
No. I'm saying that
you are now quoting the opposition on this table.
You are
supporting the opposition.
Sheyi Tinubu, I'm not there. It's Dr. Abati. He doesn't know your word too. Okolomo. Gomino Lola.
All right.
I'm not there.
Very important personnel. Well, all right. Now to politics in Rivers State. The much anticipated announcement of Governor Sim Fubara's defection from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress has been met with mixed reactions. The governor made the announcement during a stakeholders meeting in the government house in Port Harcourt. Addressing a crowd of supporters, Fubara stated that he joined the APC as a gesture of reciprocity and that without the support of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he would no longer be governor. Let's take a look.
Our only thank you to Mr. President is to support him. And we cannot support Mr. President in isolation. And we can't support Mr. President if we don't fully identify with him, not backyard support. So we have taken that decision today, since we've gotten the pass. Everyone here who have followed me, who have suffered with me, our decision today, this evening, we are moving to APC. On your mandate, we shall stand. On your mandate, on your mandate, on your mandate, we shall stand.
Well, all right. I mean, this is another defection that we have seen on your mandate, and it's all because of the PDP. So let me just quickly take this tweet from IJK, who wrote, "Since losing the 2015 elections, PDP has been a very useless opposition party, and its inability to manage its affairs has led to its hemorrhaging political depreciation. Rather than to find ways to bring itself back to political relevance, it has continued to engage in activities that further divides the ranks. Again, rather than accept its failures and seek help, it continued to blame the ruling power for steering Nigeria towards a one-party state. PDP is a rudderless ship, sinking faster than anyone could fathom. Maybe they should consider a merger with Labour Party, ADC, or APGA, because PDP, as we know, is going down." While in the same vein, Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke on Tuesday officially joined the Accord Party, just days after announcing that he's leaving the People's Democratic Party. The governor made the announcement at the banquet hall of the government house in the state and was presented his membership card by the national chairman of the party. Let's take a look.
His Excellency joined Accord on the 6th of November 2025. As the national chairman of Accord, I hereby present officially your membership card to you.
Today, we unveil the new platform for the good people of Osun State, from Osun West to Osun East to Osun Central. This is our party, our new platform for victory come August next year. Osun voted for good governance in 2022, and they will support continuity in 2026. The mass of our people are for continuity, and Accord is our party for victory next year.
Well, Adeleke had announced his resignation on December 2nd, saying that it was due to persistent turmoil at the national level of the PDP. Now, with this defection, the PDP now has 6 governors, with Abu Kefas of Taraba State and Caleb Mutfwang of Plateau, who is now wanting to join. I mean, I've seen reports that he's saying he wants to join the APC. Even Kefas, yes, they're going to join the APC. So we've seen this story now from Osun State. Osun has gone to Accord, and of course we knew that Fubara was going to go to the APC, but he said that the PDP had done nothing for him, Dr. Abati, and one of the reasons why he left, why he's now on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's mandate, is because the PDP failed him. Your thoughts?
Well, in the case of Governor Sim Fubara, we have said nobody should be surprised, nobody should be shocked. This was a man who was removed from office for 6 months, March 18 to September 18. And as they say in common parlance, his eyes saw Pepe, both in the hands of the godfather, some wicked minister and godfather of Rivers politics. And then after him, they brought Ibokete Ibas, Vice Admiral, who has now been rewarded with nomination for ambassadorial appointment. So in the case of Governor Fubara, it's a case of if you cannot beat them, you better join them. 72 hours after members of the House of Assembly, led by Martin Amewewule, jumped to the APC, He was also an orphan all over again. So did you expect him to wait till they would impeach him a second time? He may not receive the kind of sympathy he got the first time. So he needed to preserve himself. After all, they say survivor is the first law.
Yes.
As for Governor Adeleke, well, it's also a very pragmatic move.
Yes.
Okay, I was saying there's trouble in APC in Osun State. The APC members who wanted to be on the primaries on December 16, they were disqualified, Omishore and co. So they are fighting within the APC. Even if he wanted to go to the APC, the people in the APC don't even want him. And then PDP, you don't know which one is the authentic fashion. So he has now gone to Accord and he's now doing thumbs up, and he would try to build that party. Maybe when he wins, he will go back to PDP.
Right.
Maybe, if the PDP still exists. Finally, earlier on, I mentioned some states that are still on the in the opposition. I forgot to mention Anambra. Anambra is still Apuga.
But he's going to support President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Okay.
He came out to say that, 100%.
He's still an Apuga,
yes.
Apuga state.
He's almost APC.
Okay.
So almost
we face
APC.
the threat of a one-party state.
This is what it is. This is what it appears to be. But, you know, also, I would say kudos.
Abia is Labour. I mentioned Abia.
Well, Abia speaks favorably of President Tinubu.
Yes.
Also,
but I don't think Governor Alex is talking about going to APC.
It will not defect.
Well,
but it speaks favorably.
But correct. I feel like Adeleke did great. A complete game changer in Osun State at this point. The fact that he moved to Accord Party, not to the APC. But obviously, we also saw the story yesterday or the day before where, you know, the governor, the first lady was in his state and, you know, she received that chieftaincy title, the Yeye. Of what? Gbogbo Ile-Ife, where she, Odua, where she actually, you know, was speaking with the governor and, you know, trying to time him. But, you know, like people had said, it appeared to be a brotherly sort of conversation when, you know, that's some of the analysis that I had seen online. That it wasn't much of a disrespect. It was a beautiful party. You'd seen even after the party, they were all dancing. They were both dancing together. Your thoughts on that really quickly before we move.
So, well, some people said it was brotherly. Others, a lot of others said that it was disrespectful to the governor, and especially because it was done publicly. And this is what we say, that you can be a wife or a friend in private. When it comes to state events and where you have to follow protocol, he is the property of the state at that time. And I believe that the proper respect ought to have been accorded to him. The next day she came out to wish his wife a happy 60th birthday to show that they are friends. But I think that the presidency and the family do not need negative press at this time. And so maybe it's just an opportunity to be aware of the fact that you are in public. You can have private discussions and private banter. When it comes to that office, you have to respect the office. It's not about the man.
I disagree. There was nothing brotherly or sisterly about that behavior. This is Tinubu insulted the governor of Osun State. No, please. Don't put lipstick on it. That was off key. It was off limits. She had no right to talk to him rudely in that manner. But what I will praise here is Governor Adeleke's maturity.
You are so mature.
He acted in a matured manner.
Very
Don't
mature.
come and say
Dr.
brotherly.
When I said it was disrespectful,
but she didn't say.
Just go straight to the point.
Yes, I said
it was insulting. It was disrespectful. It should not happen again. The wife of the president is not a headmistress over governors. No,
we just delivered in different ways. I said it was disrespectful.
We just say it straight.
I just said it. We just delivered in different ways.
Okay, you have changed your mind.
No, Dr. Abati, you can rewind it. I said it was disrespectful. I said you can have a private relationship.
It was rude. It was
you can have a private relationship, but in public,
it wasn't I that said that. I said I have seen some comments that people said is a brotherly thing. You have seen the videos of them dancing right after that actual incident occurred. They were dancing, hugging each other. They are very good friends at this point. Well, all right. What would we say? Congratulations to Governor Ademola Adeleke. We'll take another story now. Islamic cleric Sheikh Ahmad Gumi has doubled down on earlier comments about kidnapping children being a lesser evil than murder. Gumi made the comment in a new BBC interview, adding that Nigeria must negotiate with terrorists to prevent more deaths. Let's take a look.
Part of it is correct and part of it is wrong. Saying that kidnapping children is a lesser evil than killing soldiers definitely is lesser. Killing is worse than, but they're all evil. It's just a lesser evil. Not all evils are of the same parallel. So it's a lesser evil than, like what happened in Kebbi. They abducted children and they were released. They didn't kill them.
Gumi is known for his controversial positions when it comes to negotiating with terrorists. And it's shocking to hear him double down on comments he made before regarding kidnapping children being a lesser evil than murder or ransacking a town. Rufai, 1 minute.
It's a serious story, don't laugh,
One
but I will
minute.
laugh. Kábíyèsí Gumi o. Kádé ó pẹ́ lẹ́sẹ̀, kí kádé ó pẹ́ lórí, kí bàtà pẹ́ lẹ́sẹ̀. Kábíyèsí Gumi. I'm sorry, you see the hypocrisy in this country. It has now become a country where people are telling us that kidnapping children is a lesser evil than that we should negotiate with bandits. If Nnamdi Kanu says this one now, they will send him life imprisonment. But Gumi can say it and keep saying it, we play it back. Government will never see anything about it. That's why I say Kábíyèsí Gumi. See, some people are VVIP. You know, as we're talking about Sheyi Tinubu, some people are untouchable, just got VVIP. Gumi is one of them. I think the next thing now we beg government is give him battalion and police protection. So that we're carrying everywhere and everything. I mean, maybe if he doesn't even have protection already.
All right.
Because you see, the level of hypocrisy that goes on in this country is overwhelming.
Yes.
Please, can you please tell me the difference between what Gumi has said and all the atrocities that they put against Nnamdi Kanu? Yeah, he incited violence. Saying people should negotiate with people that have
said
killed
no country can
Is it?
Cure terrorism.
No country can cure terrorism. Oh,
Nigeria
no,
cannot.
I'm sorry.
Even,
with due respect, people.
There are so many countries that don't have as many terrorists as we do.
There used to be the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia. They cured that level of terrorism.
Yes.
Peru, if you read Hernando de Soto's book, The Shining Path Rebels,
all right.
Peru cured it. All right. Hernando de Soto wrote about it a lot. So countries do overcome
the mystery of capital.
The mystery of capital. So they overcome it. So
Bandodos.
Gumi should stop. And that's why I say it's Kábíyèsí. We should just enthrone him, Kábíyèsí.
And I told you the other day, even in this interview, he did say that he goes into the forest with government officials. He doubled
so he has police protection already.
He has people negotiating with government officials in the forest. Well, all right.
No, one question.
Yes.
Maybe Ayo can answer.
Yes.
He says that even in the Bible and the Quran, that the Bible and the Quran recommend negotiation with terrorists.
No, not at
Please,
all.
what part of the Bible?
I don't know. Definitely not speaking for the Bible. We don't. No negotiation with terrorists. None at all.
And this is the stance that the Senate is pushing now. We should not be negotiating.
And this is misinformation, disinformation, and it is very dangerous. Because he has
Are you sure Gumi doesn't know the Bible more than me?
I'm sure he does at this point.
All right.
Are you sure?
Check your verse. It's very dangerous
narrative.
And he's influential, and there are some ignorant people that be following him. It's false.
All right.
And the government has not done. They've not even invited him. So is Kábíyèsí Gumi?
We keep talking about the same story.
And it says kidnapping is a lesser evil.
So
which means kidnapping is good.
It's good.
Actually, this is very inflammatory. Because once you've kidnapped a child, that person is scarred for life.
Yes.
Wait.
So there's no
It's not Gumi.
That child is scarred for life.
It's Nnamdi Kanu. They can quickly let him out. It's not Gumi. Applaudissez for Gumi.
These are not the sort of rhetoric that we need in our nation. Now under milestones. With the nation celebrating General Theophilus Yakubu Danjuma, known as General T.Y. Danjuma, on the occasion of his 88th birthday, a monumental figure in Nigerian politics and history who played a key role in the post-independence military in the country. General Danjuma was born in Taraba State in 1938 and was commissioned into the army as a second lieutenant and platoon commander in the Congo. He was then promoted to captain just 3 years later. T.Y. Danjuma had an illustrious 19-year career in the Nigerian army, rising to the rank of lieutenant general and chief of army staff before retiring in 1979 at just 40 years old. He then focused on his business career in the oil, gas, and shipping industries, founding companies including the NAL Comet Group and South Atlantic Petroleum Limited. By 2008, he set up the T.Y. Danjuma Foundation in a commitment to philanthropy and aiding the less fortunate in Nigeria. Just the day before his birthday, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu inaugurated the T.Y. Logistics Park Free Zone Enterprise in Aloro City, marking another landmark achievement in the general's decades-long commitment to Nigeria's economic development. Well, Governor Sanwo-Olu at the inauguration described General Danjuma as a man who has used his intellect and wealth responsibly, saying the facility will permanently sit in the economic story of Lagos and Nigeria. President Tinubu also offered General Danjuma birthday wishes in a statement, saying that he stands as an elder whose life has helped shape the direction of our nation. Now, from all of us at Arise News, we wish General T.Y. Danjuma a very happy birthday. Now let's take our good news report, highlighting Africa's global bank, United Bank for Africa, which has for the third time in 5 years been named the African Bank of the Year 2025 by thebanker.com. Just hold on. Well, the awards were presented at a grand ceremony in the Peninsula in London, organized by thebanker.com, a leading global finance news publication published by the Financial Times of London. The banker highlighted UBA's strong financial performance, noting that in 2024, the group recorded a 46.8% increase in assets and a 6.1% rise in pre-tax profits. UBA's digital innovation was equally recognized, with the bank's chatbot Leo becoming the first African banking chatbot to enable cross-border payments via the Pan-African Payments and Settlement System. Well, congratulations to United Bank for Africa on this outstanding achievement 3 times in 5 years. This is not luck, this is excellence. With operations in 20 African countries, plus the UK, USA, France, and UAE, UBA is proving that African banks can compete and win on the global stage. UBA also won the Best Bank of the Year in 9 of its 20 African subsidiaries, bringing its total awards in this year to 10. Congratulations. Well, meanwhile, UBA chairman Tony Elumelu, founder of the Tony Elumelu Foundation, was at the just concluded African UAE Business Leaders Philanthropy Summit in Abu Dhabi, where he interacted with key government officials to advance the foundation's mission in empowering young African entrepreneurs. The engagement culminated at the Formula One Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, where he was spotted with Abdul Samad Rabiu, founder and chairman of the BOA Group, at the Formula One motor racing event in this video that has gone viral. 30 seconds, I'll end it, 30 seconds. Well, all right, congratulations. That video was beautiful. It trended, the video with Abdul Samad. Me, I want Formula One. What can I go here in Nigeria? We are asking for that. Well, all right, congratulations. Yes, we had that as well. On that note, I'd love to thank you all for your great analysis, as always, on what's trended. Well, all right. Congratulations.